All right, everyone. What 80s promposal would you want? I personally want the Dirty Dancing one where he lifts the bear up and he does the dance. That was phenomenal.
I'm now Googling popular 80s movies, and one of the first ones that come up is Dead Poet Society. And I think that one would be a pretty funny one to get, where you just have all the kids stand on the desk and say, "Oh, Captain, my Captain, will you go to prom?" and ignore the fact that it's about a kid that died.
Oh shit. No, that's a good idea though. Ben,
Hello?
what would you want?
I don't know. I'm also Googling 80s movies.
Ben is a huge 16 Candles fan.
Yeah,
I'm not.
So we give you a cake with 16 candles and say prom?
Nope. If there's one thing you know about me, it's that I hate 16 candles. It's one of my like two main personality traits.
What's the other?
Being named Ben.
It was Let's Watch a Disney Channel movie. That's what it's based off of.
What is that from?
From Disney Channel.
She's on Disney Channel. I watched it there.
Oh my gosh.
With you.
Welcome everybody to the DCOM Duo podcast. I'm Kelsey.
I'm BenG.
And we have a very special guest. We're not the DCOM Duo, we're the DCOM Trio. Everybody, welcome Ben.
Hello.
It's not confusing at all. We have another Ben.
Yes, as we mentioned multiple times before, we lived in a house that watched DCOMs together, and three of the people there were named Ben, and two of them are currently on this podcast.
And one of them was on this podcast previously.
Yeah. Now you've met all Bens.
I mean, there's more Bens that exist.
Yeah.
From Jank House.
You know a lot more Bens.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a very
I know
name in Minnesota.
I know very many Bens.
Yeah.
Like, I know at least 4. And one's myself.
You know more than 4.
I do know more than 4.
I know more than 4 that you know.
All right, Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to say?
Well, specifically, what's your history with DCOMs?
I was in this house that's been referred to as Jank House, and there were some people that were watching some Disney Channel original movies over the pandemic. And I missed the first like 30 or so, I feel like, because I wasn't there for the pandemic.
Yeah, you were gone for like 6 months.
Yeah, I was gone for 6 months, and the week I was going to come back, someone got COVID in the house. So I had to delay that a few more weeks.
That's true.
That did happen.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yep. So, but then I came back, and now I've seen like 80-ish DCOMs.
Nice. Did you watch any as a kid?
Yeah, I watched High School Musical, and
Nice.
High School Musical 2, and unofficial DCOM High School Musical 3.
Nice.
And I think that might be it.
Really?
No, like Camp Rock.
I don't know if I saw Camp Rock as a kid. I know I've seen YouTube videos, and maybe it's like in my head as having seen it, but I didn't really watch a ton of Disney Channel. I think I saw the Phineas and Ferb movie.
Gotcha.
Because I watched Phineas and Ferb.
You want to let the audience at home know your quick hot takes on DCOMs?
DCOMs are they're movies of varying quality.
Man, that's really a hot take.
What's your favorite?
I really liked watching Pixel Perfect.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's a hilarious one. It's not the best Disney Channel original movie. That would be High School Musical, but
sure.
But Pixel Perfect was very fun.
It's a good time.
And what one do you loathe?
Oh, that's an obvious one. Zapped and Zapped.
Yeah.
That's the one I loathe.
Is there one that we like that you don't?
I don't know. I don't hate any of them that you like.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think you're higher on zombies than me.
That's
zombies, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Kelsey's just like zombies is the best Disney Channel original movie ever. I'm like, there are some problems with zombies. It's fine. I like it.
Zombies is a good
perfect movie
for us to transition back into the topic of our podcast today. We watch Prom Pact. Prom Pact is the newest Disney Channel original movie. We'll get to talk about it more in depth later. Well, Ben, why did you want to be on Prom Pact in particular?
Oh, because I hate the movie 16 Candles. That's one of the 2 traits you know about me.
Yeah.
And 16 Candles is a John Hughes movie. And in the marketing for this movie, or like the press release thingies that people did, most of the producers are like, this is a John Hughes movie for a modern audience. And I have the vendetta against John Hughes because I really hated 16 Candles.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Mhm.
bad movie.
What's your opinion on the other John Hughes
I've
movies?
seen Breakfast Club. It was fine. I didn't like it, but it was fine. I could see how some people might like it, which I didn't understand it. I was watching 16 Candles. And then I've seen Ferris Bueller, but I remember nothing from it because I saw it when I was like 12. And I remember it being fine.
That's fair.
I think I watched Mean Girls the same weekend, and that was a much better movie. That's far more memorable.
That's not a John Hughes
That's
film.
not
Don't
John
worry.
No, it's
Hughes.
No.
not.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
just
what?
saying that it's a better movie than
Oh, well,
Ferris Bueller.
I
so-
agree. Mean Girls is just kind of a top tier movie.
Yeah,
So
but just so for reference.
Okay, for
Since I didn't
reference.
have opinions on Ferris Bueller, I'm like, the only thing I know is it's worse than Mean Girls. So
Yeah.
there's a wide range in there.
nice. Oh my gosh, we have fan mail.
Oh, would you like to read our
Yeah,
fan mail?
I'll read it.
Oh my gosh, is it Benji's mom?
No, it's not.
What?
It's a new fan.
Yeah, we got a very special first time not being my mom reaching out to us with fan mail.
All right, subject line. I love the podcast. Sent from anonymous iPhone.
I wonder who that could be.
That's crazy. Who could it possibly be?
We don't know. It's anonymous.
It's anonymous.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Ben, for sending that in.
How'd you figure it out?
We gave
Wait,
Ben a lot
it's
of
actually you?
No.
we give Ben a lot of crap for not sending in fan mail.
Yeah,
so-
yesterday.
Yesterday. It's cool. You said you were going to send in fan mail and then you
I
didn't.
might, and I eventually did. So I was telling the truth.
All right. Before we dive into the facts and regulations of DCOM, I don't know why I
They have
said.
a name. The DCOM Duo Factos.
Yeah, the DCOM Duo Factos. I don't know why I went
Maybe
fact
yours
and
just messed
regulations.
it all up.
Do we want to give any
that's
general
it.
thoughts about the movie? Like, it was fine. It's
I
good.
thought I wasn't gonna like it, and then I did like it.
Thought I wasn't gonna like it. Thinking back on it, it wasn't that great a movie, but it was fun. It was funny. The plot's fine.
It works.
It was good.
It's like a 80s John Hughes movie brought to the modern day.
Yes. The one thing that was really noticeable from it was I was not expecting a Disney Channel original movie to be TV-14.
Oh yeah, there is.
And this one was.
This is PG-13 and like in a very like clear way. It's not like a secret PG-13
I know. They say
film.
hell and dumbass.
Mm-hmm. They say some naughty words.
Uh-huh.
They imply a lot of sex,
Yeah.
both verbally and
They
physically.
apply a lot of sex. They apply sex in like 2 scenes.
P and the V.
Yeah.
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 Maybe 3.
Well, yeah.
A lot of making out.
Yeah. There's some underage drinking that's implied.
Yep. Yeah.
I feel like that's more than implied. I
It
feel
is more than implied. They're like everyone's gonna be trashed. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like there's no explanation other than them drinking. They just don't explicitly
No,
say
They're
they're drinking.
they're trash because they were up so late. They'll be tired.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
point.
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be up too late partying, so they can't be at the garden. Spoilers for the movie.
We're gonna be spoiling the whole movie as we do in every episode.
Yeah, but I don't want to spoil it before Kelsey's recap.
Well, let's go into the DCOM Duo Factos. I did the Factos today. We were recording this the day after we watched it for the first time, and we watched it with some friends. Ben was a part of the friend group that we were watching there. Kelsey went back and did all the notes after, so thank you so much for doing all of that.
Yeah, so I've seen it twice.
Yes.
Within like 24 hours.
Yeah. Within 24 hours of each other. I watched it last night and I watched it again this morning with taking notes.
Did your opinion change at all rewatching it?
No, I still like it. Well, yep.
Prom Pact, or it's just called Prom Pact, not the Prom Pact.
Oh, it's just Prom Pact.
Just Prom Pact. It released March 30th, 2023. That's very recent to when this is posted.
Yeah, it's a few days ago.
Yes. Not
It
one
is
day.
the 115th Disney Channel original movie. It is the first new one to come out since we started the podcast, and the second new one since the end of our house movie marathon.
Yeah.
So it's a little awkward when we get to the end and we'll talk about rankings and everything because we kind of don't have that official of a rating of this, but we'll talk about that then. That'll be in a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I can get down into the cast and crew. The director of this is Anya Adams. She had a lot of decently big TV show episodes, but this is her first film that she's done a directing. According to her IMDb page as well. She did The Good Place, Glow, Blackish, Fresh Off the Boat, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, The Expanse, and Yellow Jackets, among some other lesser known TV shows. Those are just ones that I've heard people talk about, so mentioning them here. She also did an episode of Doogie Kami Aloha MD, which is important because basically every single person in this cast and crew has worked on that show in some capacity.
That's a Disney Plus show.
That is a Disney Plus show with the new season of that show premiering the same day that this movie premiered on
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a cross promotional thing
Yeah.
because literally everyone who's not everyone, but pretty much everyone worked on both things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least like the main characters.
Yeah,
And
but
the
even a lot of the
director.
minor characters as well.
Yeah.
In our cast, playing Mandy Yang, we got Peyton Elizabeth Lee. She was the lead title role in Andy Mack.
I knew it. I'm like, she looks like the girl from Andy Mack. I'm glad I was right.
She also is the lead role on Doogie Cameo Aloha MD. So there's that cross promotion. A couple other minor TV appearances, including like Scandal and Shameless. But other than that, it's really just been those two main roles for her career.
She's still young.
She's 18, I think.
Yeah.
We were looking up the ages because the cast members do not look like high schoolers.
I mean, that's going to be the case.
Enough.
Some of them do. She does.
Especially when you're trying to do a riff of an 80s movie.
And they're seniors in high school, so that helps a lot.
I guess Grease was like the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Grease,
But Grease 2 was the 80s.
Grease, they do not look like teenagers.
No.
It's
better than a lot of things.
Ben Plunkett was played by Milo Manheim.
Woo-hoo.
If you don't know, he is Zed in the Zombies franchise, which is the second main character. I feel like Addison's the main character
I also
there.
feel like
the character of the first movie and not of the second two.
I feel like Addison is the main character always.
Yeah, maybe.
I would agree with that. Regardless, he is a star of Zombies.
Yeah.
He would be irresponsible to call him anything but
he's the male lead.
He's the male lead. That's the way I should put it. He's also on the new season of Doogie Kamealoha MD.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just probably stop mentioning this for everyone.
I watched the trailer. I think there might be a love triangle between him and who played Mandy? I can't remember names.
Peyton
Elizabeth Lee.
There's a love triangle.
I think there's a love triangle between them.
Oh my god!
So.
Crazy. Yeah. Really didn't do all that much else. He's done a couple of small TV roles, but not that many. I did find it funny, though, that his IMDb page says he dabbles in the kazoo.
Oh, I also dabble in the kazoo.
Gotta get him on the podcast.
I wish. Oh my god, I would love to.
Imagine him playing Exceptional Zed on kazoo.
And I do the Addison part. That'd be incredible.
You guys should just do a someday duet, double kazoo it.
Oh my god, Milo, if you're out there, please contact me.
Blake Draper played Graham Lansing. He actually has been in basically nothing. When I looked him up on IMDb, there were 4 other credits other than Prom Pact, and it was all for things I did not know.
Nice.
They're all just like TV episodes or podcasts.
Nice.
So this is really his breakout. I thought he was fine.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, I thought everyone did a good job.
Yeah, there was no one that I was like, damn, they suck. Like, that just didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's not always the case, but I feel like also a lot of times with kid actors, you feel that, but these are not really kid actors.
Yes, it helps that they didn't have any eight-year-olds for us to make fun of.
Yeah.
The freshman wasn't that good.
Well, that's just
the character.
I hate his character. The performance was fine. It made me hate him, so he actually did a good job.
He was only in one scene.
He was in 2 scenes.
Oh, well, I didn't watch this movie twice.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an expert.
Monique A. Green played LaToya Reynolds.
LaToya Reynolds.
Yes. Her name gets said a lot, so hopefully you remember the character. She's in various TV episodes, including Criminal Minds, The Fosters, How to Get Away with Murder, Fresh Off the Boat, Fuller House, This Is Us, Blackish. A lot of them for just
Fuller House and This Is Us.
Yep.
I love those shows. And yeah, she's like 28, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She looks young enough, I think.
No, she looks like a high schooler.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's pretty old for that role, but like it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, she looks young and
she
she's
was
short.
passing.
She's short. Yeah.
When you're short, you can get away with anything.
Mhm.
Kelsey can tell you.
Sure.
Because you're short.
Haha.
Comment below how short Kelsey is. The answer is short.
If you think she's the height, she's probably shorter.
Yeah.
That's not true, but
And then finally, I have Margaret Cho playing Miss Chen. There's a lot of other people who have speaking or minor roles in this. I didn't put them all down, especially because the vast majority of them really weren't in all that much. But
Mhm.
Margaret Cho has been in a lot. She's been in stuff since the 90s. She's been doing stand-up comedy for like years since the 90s. She was the star of All American Girl, which only lasted one season. It was a sitcom on the ABC, but it is considered groundbreaking for like Asian American inclusivity on sitcom television.
Mhm.
She had a role in Face Off. She had a big role in Fire Island. She got nominated for an Emmy for playing Kim Jong Il on 30 Rock.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
she's done a lot of stuff with her career.
Yeah, she's a recognizable face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh yeah,
I knew who she was.
I know who that is.
She is the biggest name actor-wise attached to the project.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, personally for me, it's Milo Manheim. But
Yeah, he was in Zombies.
yeah, he's in Zombies.
Zombie
exactly.
star.
He's
You're
exceptional.
downplaying Zombies' cultural impact.
I don't think that's possible.
You don't think it's possible to downplay Zombies' cultural impact?
I think as much as I like zombies, I don't think there was a cultural impact.
Yeah, no.
And then we got some fun facts.
Yay.
So yeah, this was released on Disney Plus a day after airing on TV.
I think that's the soonest it's ever happened because Under Wraps 2, it was like a week, I think.
Yeah,
Before
I don't know
it
how
came
quick
out.
Spin.
Spin actually took a bit, I remember. Because when it came out Disney Plus, we were like, oh, wait, no way. It was like at least a
I
month.
think Christmas again
Mhm.
came really quick too.
Oh, that was probably quick, but we don't know because we didn't watch it live.
So we just
We
missed
didn't realize that there was a new DCOM and we felt so dumb. So we just watched it on Disney Plus like at least a week after. It might have been like a week.
There is a genuine debate on if this counts as a Disney Channel original movie.
There
It
is?
says
It
Disney
says
Channel.
It doesn't say Disney Channel. It says Disney original movie.
Shut up, it does.
On all the trailers and stuff I've been looking through, it says Disney original movie.
Just watch
on
the
the
movie.
Wikipedia
It is on the Wikipedia page.
I thought it
It
said so in
premiered
the
on
movie.
Disney Channel, and it was made to premiere on the Disney Channel. So to me, that counts, but I just wanted to bring that up.
I feel like maybe this wasn't at some point intended to be on Disney Channel.
Yeah.
It says, I literally just pulled up the movie again, it says a Disney original movie.
Yes,
Why
it
does it not say
does.
Disney Channel?
Because they want to make it so they can say it's a Disney Plus original too, is my guess.
Or they want to leave it ambiguous so you can say whichever one you want.
Well, fuck, do we even count it?
Yeah, it's on the Wikipedia.
It's on the Wikipedia page. It
Okay.
premiered on the Disney Channel. It is referred to in media like as a Disney Channel original movie.
And it also premiered originally on Disney Channel.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
It premiered Thursday.
It's definitely one, though. We're getting to an era where I'm guessing we may never see the words Disney Channel original movie on a screen again. Because they're going to want to be able to say their Disney Plus originals too, if that so helps them.
It was
Yeah.
originally announced as a Disney Plus original film, but then they put it on Disney Channel first. For some
That's what happened to
reason.
Spin.
Yeah.
Which I think these count. And there's been other films that like air on Disney Channel and are on Disney Plus that do not count. Like there's the film Sneakerella, which we haven't really talked about because when it got onto my radar, everything said this is a Disney Plus film that just also aired on Disney Channel.
It aired
There
on
is a
Disney Channel
distinction.
first.
It did not air on Disney Channel first.
They just
but
aired
it's
it later.
after.
Oh.
Prom Pact specifically aired on Disney Channel first.
And that's going to be the distinction we're probably using going
But
forward.
Zombies 3 aired on Disney Plus first.
But they had a specific version. Also, we've done pretty much a sequels count rule,
Yeah, I mean, if we're counting High School Musical 3,
which
and
we
then
shouldn't theoretically.
Zombies 3 was like, we're going to premiere it again on Disney Channel with bonus content. We'll talk about that when we talk about Zombies 3.
It was a
The
scam.
bonus content.
Yeah, it was dumb. We'll talk about that another time.
But yeah, basically, even though Wikipedia is not the best source, that's what we've been doing to be the end all single source of is this a DCOM or not? And Wikipedia says this is.
Okay.
All right. It is the first DCOM to premiere on a Thursday.
Yeah, that was weird. It's because they wanted it on Disney Plus on a Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is the first TV-14 DCOM. All others were either TVG or TVPG. The premiere on Disney Channel was rated TVPG-L for strong language. So I'm wondering if
Oh.
some stuff got toned a little down.
Yeah.
We watched it
Maybe.
on Disney Plus.
Yeah, we
Did
did
you-
not watch it on Disney
Did you
Channel.
end up recording it?
I did not. Because I knew it was going to be on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So I figured I didn't need
I'm
to.
wondering if some of the things aren't in the.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know. It's too late now.
If you watch this on Disney Channel proper, please let us know. We'd love to hear.
Yes.
And then also watch it on Disney Plus to let us know the differences.
Yes.
All right. And then I can read the Disney Plus
You
description.
don't want me to read it?
You can read it. I'll let
I can
Kelsey read it.
I want to take over. All right, Disney Plus description. It's a long one this time around. It's the height of prom season, and high school senior Mandy Yang and her best friend and fellow outsider Ben are surrounded by over-the-top 80s themed promposals. However, Mandy keeps her eyes focused on a different goal, her lifelong dream of attending Harvard. When she finds out her acceptance has been deferred, she is determined to do whatever she can do to get herself off the wait list, even if that means asking for help from the one person she abhors, popular basketball all-star Graham Lansing, whose father is a powerful senator and Harvard alum. Once Mandy becomes Graham's tutor, she begins to realize there's more to him than she thought and perhaps something more to life than Harvard.
There's nothing more to life than Harvard, let's be real.
There was a really long sentence in the middle there.
Yeah.
Like, that whole middle chunk was one sentence. It was just kind of impressive, honestly. They just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have any other notes to add on, or are we ready to dive into the movie?
I think we're ready to dive in. All right, let's get into the movie now. All right, so we open up. Apparently, it says a Disney original film. We're at a pep rally, right? Go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs.
Mandy is not at the pep rally.
Boo Canaries.
Is that who they're going?
Yeah, there were a bunch of signs that said "Boo Canaries" on them.
Must be who
I
they're
thought it was
playing.
very funny.
That is pretty
I think
funny.
one person subtitled said "Boo Canaries," which I found funny.
That's funny.
Imagine having your opponents be named Canary. Like,
Mhm.
Canary is a bad name for a school
Go
mascot.
Canaries.
Because aren't canaries the one that, would fly and go die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're used specifically to
Like,
die.
I think canaries going to be a positive thing. I don't think they should be your team's fighting school mascot.
Probably not. Mandy is not at the pep rally. She is outside of the gym refreshing her Harvard application, but it's not coming through.
A
Right?
really well-designed app because all she has to do is refresh and it actually works. I feel like web these days doesn't work that way.
Don't you usually get an email or something if you're accepted?
Well, I don't know. I haven't gone to Harvard.
That's true.
Application things. I think there was a website you could.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to remember when I got accepted to the U, if I got an email first, or I remember specifically getting a letter in the
I got
mail.
it. I mean, I
might
got
have
a letter in
gotten
the mail,
both.
but I got an email first.
I probably got the email first. Yeah. It's been so long. I'm so old. Okay. So Prom Pact shows up in like neon letters because it's 80s.
This
right?
movie is very much trying to be an 80s movie. That is one of its entire gimmicks, and is using the most 80 neon, like, outrun aesthetic that you can imagine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Synthwave.
Mandy starts like putting lost and found stuff in the donation box, and her counselor comes in and she's like, "You can't just steal from the lost and found." And she's like, "I'm putting it in the donation box," which probably still is wrong because those are property of someone else. You can't just be
Well,
like,
she's not the most morally ethical person, as we learn throughout the film.
I guess she's just like, these probably been lost for a long time. Let's donate them. I'm sure the school probably donates them anyway.
She's very Machiavellian in her ethics beliefs.
Yeah. She's like, "Okay, fine, I'll put them back. Are you happy now?" And the guidance counselor goes, "I'm a high school guidance counselor. I'm never happy." Damn. So the cheerleaders are like dancing at the pep rally, and we see this like one male cheerleader absolutely kill it. I wanted to shout that out because he's killing the dance moves. Oh, Benji, you also mentioned that their like rally song is fun.
Yeah.
Like, "Go Bulldogs," and it was yeah.
It sounds very like detailed, which is fun. It's
Yeah.
actually it has a lot going on.
All right, so just to make this more confusing, one of the main characters' name is Ben. That's Milo Manheim's character. So Ben is at the pep rally.
We can just call him
What?
No Nuts if we want to be clear.
No, I don't want to call him No Nuts.
That's mean.
That's mean.
It is mean. That's the point of the movie.
So Ben is at the rally, and Mandy goes and sits next to him because the counselor made her go to the pep rally, and he's all excited about it. He likes the pep rally, and Mandy does not. All right, so then Graham Lansing goes to talk because he is the captain of the basketball team. Our very own Troy Bolton right here.
I wonder if he also sings.
Graham is like, I would go on and on about speaking, but that would be corny as hell. And I'm like, damn, TV 14.
Yeah, they definitely aren't going to say anything more.
It was a TV 14 movie.
Definitely not going to say anything more risque than hell. This
Yeah.
movie.
Mandy starts complaining about Graham, that like everybody worships this guy, right? And quote, he's just an entitled dumbass who uses his nice smile and male privilege to fail upwards and become king of the Everest.
Yeah, we learn later what they mean by Everest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I never
she explains it.
really ever mention it in my notes again, but basically Everest is how they refer to all the populars because they're peaking in high school.
It's close to being clever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Mandy's seen a lot of 80s movies, so she's like, that's what popular people are like.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a movie that kind of backtracks onto the popular cliches of here are the popular kids in school and the not popular kids in school, and this is what social dynamics are like.
Yeah.
That when it's not really that accurate, but
It's
that's
a very tropey movie.
yeah. But I think it was intended to be.
Yeah.
This is also a very cringy movie, but it was fully intended to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to punish the movie for its tropes or cliche, like cringe, when that's what it's trying for. And I think it does succeed.
So Ben's like, damn, Mandy, you need to chill. Like, calm down. Graham is like, we're gonna reveal the prom theme. Everyone welcome class president Latoya Reynolds. And she's also a cheerleader.
You never hear her name described with just Latoya. It's always
No,
Latoya
It's
Reynolds.
Latoya Reynolds. And it's very obvious that Ben likes her because she's pretty.
Yeah, you do the thing where he looks at her and the music cuts out for like 3 seconds. So obviously they're in love.
Mhm.
Yeah, except she doesn't know who he is, probably.
I think she does.
Yeah, I mean, it's real later she does, but for right now, we're supposed to think like, oh, he's in love with her because she's popular and pretty.
And that is
Yeah.
that is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, then Latoya reveals that the prom theme is the 80s, and everyone's like, yes, we love the 80s. And then all of a sudden the lights go out, and a ghost appears on the wall. And a random girl in the crowd, she goes, oh my god, it's a proposal. This is not a drill,
I
people.
feel like you're not giving that enough. She
She
screams it.
screams it in front of everyone. She's such a pick-me.
It's me.
Might be me.
First off, everyone in this school loves going all out for their promposals. This is such a spoiler, I want to say.
She's totally ruining the moment. She's like, this is not a drill, people. This is the promposal. Like, I don't think she has very many friends.
Also, they spoiled to everyone doing the promposal what the theme is. Just want to say that.
What, Ghostbusters?
Well, that it's 80s.
Oh,
Because
that's it. Yeah.
I don't think it would be Ghostbusters.
Oh no, the spoilers on what the
Well,
prom theme is.
no,
How will they?
It's
Everyone
after-
cares so much about it, so I would be mad.
No, it's right after she says the prom theme is 80s. And then they start doing Ghostbusters.
Yeah, so obviously the people had it planned.
Oh,
Therefore, they were spoiled
gosh.
about it.
Yeah, it's like a whole. I think it's because it's the basketball guys,
I
and they
feel-
worked it out with Latoya.
I feel like some of them might be on student council where
Yeah,
they
probably.
discussed this.
But also, all the marching band knows because they start playing the Ghostbusters theme.
Yeah,
So they all
Mhm.
know it's
Yeah.
probably 80s.
it's fun to get the marching band involved.
I don't
It's
think you
fun.
keep the prom theme secret. It's not like something people are keeping from
Well, then why did they do
everyone.
the grand reveal?
Because the general public doesn't know. Anyway, there's 4 of the basketball guys, including Graham, and they're in their Ghostbusters costume, and they're doing the promposal. They're like dancing and stuff. And they, out of the guns, it shoots out the letters for prom.
And they're not great at dancing, which is very accurate because
Yeah.
it's just obvious like they're doing this to be a fun promposal.
Well, like the costumes are are fun and the lights and it's
good
a
prop
time.
work.
It's a lot
Yeah.
more effort than I think anybody would actually do in high school.
Which
Yeah.
is fun.
Yes.
You know? And one cheerleader in particular is like pushed out, like, oh, this is a promposal for her. And then the music stops and she goes, oh my gosh, Graham Lansing, are you asking me to prom? And then the guy next to him goes, no, it's me, Owen, asking you to prom. I'm your boyfriend.
This is such a bad look on her.
And then she goes, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine, I guess. Yep.
It's so awkward.
They start arguing in the background because Grant grabs the microphone. It's like she said yes, like trying to diffuse the tension, but that you can just see them arguing behind him, and it's really funny.
She has no leg to stand on, in my opinion.
Oh,
He's there.
Yeah, no.
She really thinks
And
it's
he was
Graham.
the first person in the line. He was the
Probably,
one who
yeah.
had the P.
No, he
of
was
prom.
second.
Oh,
He had the R.
why was he the R?
There's 4 of them, so you want the guy in the middle, but him and Graham were both in the middle because there's only 4.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
Okay.
it's one of those two, and she decided it's got to be Graham, right?
Well, this is obviously going to be the most awkward promposal of them all, and there's no way any other one could have bigger negative ramifications on anyone's life the rest of this movie.
I
So,
think it is the one that probably has the biggest negative ramifications.
yeah, it's just not the main characters.
Everyone else
Yeah.
says yes to their promposal.
No,
Okay, that wasn't really a
Okay,
big
we didn't
spectacle,
see that
though.
one though. We don't know.
we know that there was
also,
a
it
no
wasn't
on
a
that one.
promposal. That was just a proposal. Where
That
was
was
the
just-
prom?
That was just a will you go to prom with me.
There was no 80s theme to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even count.
All the promposals that have 80s themes are said yes to. So.
Mhm.
Real easy figure him out.
Those two also come back throughout the movie a couple times, and
They're
you can
funny.
see them arguing in the background.
It's really
shots,
funny.
which is really fun.
It's a good bit, yeah. All right, so now the pep rally's over, and Mandy goes to talk to her counselor some more. Her name's Miss Chen, and she's wanting advice about Harvard. Then Miss Chen's phone rings, and she answers it. And she's like, "Oh my God, it's Mr. Harvard himself! Oh my gosh, yeah, you want to accept Mandy into Harvard?" It's like clearly a joke. And then she goes, "I'll explain later, honey," and hangs up. And Mandy's like, "That was your wife." And she's like, "No, it was Mr. Harvard." But yeah, the counselor's just kind of being mean.
No,
Yeah.
this whole movie, we talk about it, that the counselor's just not a good person.
Well, she teases Mandy. I think it's just because they have that rapport.
Yes.
Yeah.
But being this introduction, we don't know that. And it just seems like she's being mean for no reason.
And
Yeah.
There's another student which she makes a mean comment about.
Yeah, that's a little later, yeah.
we'll get to that
So-
then, but like, yeah.
And then Mandy gives a speech, and the counselor's like, "Oh my gosh, you're about to give a speech." So she does, and she's like, "I want to go to Harvard because there's a specific professor, Professor Downs. She's there. She's awesome. She's won like 2 Nobel Prizes.
Real
so-
Marie Curie out there.
Yeah, I'm glad that there's a more specific reason that Mandy wants to go to Harvard instead of it's Harvard, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of the movies and TV shows fall in that trope of like, you have to go to this top-notch school or else you're worth nothing,
Yeah.
which just isn't true. There's tons of schools where you can get
It
educated.
also, I think, wouldn't have fit with like her liberal stereotype if she was like, I need the name recognition of
Yeah,
Harvard,
You're right.
an elitist institution.
Yeah, she's going specifically
It would've-
for a female role model.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ben's completely right where she is a very tropey character in of herself of being feminist, but like written as a quote feminist.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jokes at that expense, which is weird. But she is a high school student, and you aren't the most aware of what
Yes.
you're saying at that point in your life.
Yeah.
So it seems realistic at points.
It is-
And also
it is
somewhat
realistically-
sarcastic.
It is realistically cringy at a lot of points.
Yes.
Yeah. So then Miss Chen teases her more and tells her to consider some other schools, and she's like, "Nah."
She says she's already applied to backup schools later.
Yeah, but then she doesn't want to consider
No.
any of them.
No.
So my theory that she got into Yale is still possible.
I applied to like one school and I got in. So, but I also wasn't going for Harvard. I went to University of Minnesota, which was pretty attainable. I mean, if you have good grades,
I only really did one stretch school of application. I did U Chicago. I applied there. I got on the wait list, and then I already decided at that point I'd rather go to University of Minnesota, so I did that instead
Nice.
of trying to get off the wait list.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's what this plot could have been.
Do you have to do anything to get off a wait list?
You what they're saying about sending like letters or Rex and stuff, that we're jumping a little ahead in the plot talking
Yeah.
about this, but that is a thing you can do. You can try and like keep letting the school know about more extracurriculars, more like cool things that you're doing, better resume boosters
Yeah.
to try and bump you up off the wait list. Because there will be people added from the wait list in and you just want to be on that
Yeah.
group.
Gotcha. All right, so then we're out in the courtyard and we meet the two other friends that Mandy and Ben have. Their names are Charles and Zenobia, which is a very fun name.
Yeah, Charles is pretty weird. Like I've
Um,
never met anyone named Charles.
They're both in marching band, and I don't really mention this, so I'll just mention it now. Zenobia is like the drum major, right? Is that what it's called?
I believe so.
Yeah, she's like she keeps time, and then she gets to wear the fun costume, and there's like little jokes about it, but it's not like a main focus. These two are just like meant to fill in gaps that Ben and Mandy don't have. Like they're the more sociable friends that can let them know things are
You
happening.
can't just have a full on cringe fest of the nerds at all times.
Yeah.
You have to have some social identity.
Yeah. So Mandy starts complaining about promposals and the patriarchy, but Ben's like, I like that it's 80s theme. I think that's fun.
Ben's an optimist. He really sees the world as all being positive, and Mandy's the negative, which is like everything in the world sucks, and we should try and make it better, but like it might suck more.
I don't really feel like Ben's that much of an optimist.
Well, at
He's
least
just
in the
kind of
beginning right now. He is right now.
yeah. He's very pessimistic in like the next scene.
Oh,
we'll get to.
He's about himself.
He's pessimistic about himself and his role in the world. I think he's optimistic in terms of society as a whole and culture as a whole.
Yeah.
Like whenever he's talking about things people enjoy, he's happy people enjoy them. Whereas I feel like Mandy is more worried about the problematic nature of some of these things people enjoy are.
Yeah.
It goes into this fight that they're about to get into.
Yeah, so Mandy's like, 80s movies are sexist, and Ben's like, they're not all sexist. And then Charles and Zenobia make a $1 bet on who's gonna win the argument.
I will say this. I make dollar bets with friends all the time.
No, it's just a fun little.
It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, you get a little bit of stakes on it.
Yeah. Okay, so Ben starts listing off movies.
Yeah.
He's like, Breakfast Club. And Mandy's like, you know, she got a whole makeover to get a boyfriend at the end.
I think that's a different movie.
No, that happened in Breakfast Club.
Yeah. It does. That's what she said for breakfast.
Yeah, she
Club,
said
though? It's not like the peering up skirts or anything that she.
No,
took issue
that's
with?
probably a little too inappropriate to mention
Okay.
in the movie. But she says like it's all about being yourself until you want a cute boy to like you, and then you get a makeover by Molly Grimwald. Which that happened. And she just she's talking about just patriarchy.
She also could just mention one thing and not another.
Yeah. That's true.
Weird Science. She said the moral is that the perfect girl is scantily clad and here to please. And then Revenge of the Nerds, the hero nerd tricks a girl into sleeping with him in that movie. So
There's probably a not sexist 80 movie out there.
Dirty
Yeah.
Dancing might be fun. Maybe it might not.
I don't know
There
80s
probably are
movies.
sexist. There are probably sexist moments in it.
I mean, abortion's not okay in that movie because it's like in the 60s, I think. Is that when it takes place? I think so.
I haven't seen Dirty Dancing.
I like Dirty Dancing, personally.
Googling 80s movies
Well,
again.
the argument
I'll
wasn't about
Google-
all movies is just if Ben could name one.
Yeah, and he couldn't. I'm gonna search is Dirty Dancing sexist? Oh, someone said Dirty Dancing is an underrated feminist masterpiece.
Whoa.
Feminist masterpiece. That's all I'm seeing. So
Yeah.
no, I think he should have said Dirty Dancing and he would have won the argument.
Mhm.
So everyone says it's feminist. Let's go Dirty Dancing. Okay. So what did I say Chuck? I think I didn't know his
Charles.
His name's Charles, and so his nickname's probably Chuck. That's why. I didn't know his name at the time. So Chuck, okay.
Is Chuck a nickname for Charles?
Yeah.
Or
It
something.
is. So he lost because he bet on Ben, and Zenobia's like, pay up, and he goes, chill out, I'll Venmo you, and then immediately turns, I don't have Venmo.
It's a good line. I need to use that
That was a
sometime.
really good line.
Even though I have Venmo, so like I can't do it.
I'll Venmo you. I don't have Venmo. All right, so then we cut to a new scene. Ben is working at a grocery store. Mandy texts him to pick her up later because it's Friday night and they have their little Friday night date thing.
Yeah, they have a very specific Friday night date plan that they do every Friday night.
Yep. Kyle is a really dumb freshman that is there. He also works there. He's the bag boy. And he starts to bully Ben. He's like, you're not even really a senior. Do you drink? Do you, like, have sex? He's like, are you virgin? And Ben's like, I've kissed a girl before. And Kyle's like, I'm not talking about kissing. I'm talking about your P in a V.
Which is, yeah, this is a common, like, a specific phrase. I've never heard anyone say this.
No. Well, I mean, we know what it means, though.
Yeah, it's very clear what it means.
P in a V.
Yeah.
It's just, imagine hearing that within the first 10 minutes of a DCOM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I can't believe, like, dude, this is a freshman. He's probably 14. We can give him the benefit of the doubt and say 15, but I like to think he's still 14. And he's just bullying the senior for being a virgin, which is not a cool thing.
No.
I mean, bullying's not cool at all, but, like, don't pressure someone to lose their virginity. That's not cool at all. That's sexual harassment. Kyle, you fucking 14-year-old, what's wrong with you? Oh my god.
He's got some issues to work out.
He's ever had his P in a V. Jeez, he's 14. And then Kyle is like, you see that guy? His P has been in some V. And it's Graham, he's pointing out.
Imagine that being the introduction to a character. I know we've seen Graham already in the film.
Yeah.
But, like, this is when we first really get to hear him talk to one of the main characters. And it's just, hey, that person over there fucks.
And you don't fuck. It's so weird. Okay, so then Graham comes to, like, check out. He's, like, getting a couple things. And he doesn't recognize Ben at first. He doesn't realize they go to the same school or that he's also a senior. Like, he's literally in his class.
They have a big school, though.
Is he in his class?
Yeah, they're both seniors.
Oh.
I meant, like, senior class.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he's like, oh my gosh, you're No Nuts Plunkett. And I thought the whole movie this was purely a joke about how he's a virgin. But it's not.
Now he doesn't have a P in him.
Yeah. It's not. It's that when they were younger, he had a Snickers bar and he had an allergic reaction to it. And, you know, his, like, face got all puffy. And so now everybody makes fun of him for having an allergy.
Woo, society.
It's better than just calling him a virgin all the time.
But we all missed this.
I caught that.
Well, you didn't mention it.
I literally did. I said, oh, they're calling it. They specifically say, wow, that's mean that they call him that because he's not swollen. I couldn't recognize you.
Yeah, he's like, I don't recognize you because you're all swollen and you're not.
I mentioned it multiple times while we were watching.
Swollen part. I just didn't connect that. I thought it had something to do with virginity.
Probably just a double meaning now. Like,
and like later in the movie, they're sitting in the no nuts zone.
Yeah.
And I'm like pointing out, yeah, because he has the allergy.
Yeah, I just thought that was a metaphor or something.
Yeah, because no nuts.
No nuts. She's not there. Mandy's there, but he's not there.
Because she's longing for this is later.
Yeah, she was in the no nuts zone because no nuts isn't there.
Yeah.
No nuts.
Yeah.
So nuts.
Okay, so now we're at Mandy's house. She's getting ready to leave, and her mom's like, "You got a hot date?" And Mandy's like, "Oh yeah, I have a date with the most popular boy in school." And the mom goes, "You have a date with Graham Lansing?" And then the dad pops in. He's like, "Graham Lansing?" And Mandy's like, "How do you guys even know who that is?" And the dad's like, "I didn't. I just like felt the vibe and I jumped on it."
Yeah. He is a very talented basketball player who's going to get into a basketball scholarship at University of Texas, I believe. They say UT.
They say UT.
Which I'm guessing means University of Texas. He said I'm either doing that or state, which would be Washington State, because they never mentioned this in the film, but they live in Washington. Seattle specifically.
Anyone caught it, but they are in Seattle right now.
We're making a joke because they showed the Space Needle and also the word Seattle a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. They showed the Space Needle like 5 times in the movie.
And Bay at one point, Bay has been on the podcast before, so y'all should know who Bay is. She was watching with us and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I noticed the license plate has Washington." So I'm like, "Ah, they're in Washington." But at that point we already knew they were in Seattle. It's just funny.
What was I saying? Yeah, basically, he's very good at basketball.
Yeah.
And him being able, like, this is the only reason I can think of why a parent would know, like, you got a date with, like, the really popular athletic boy.
Yeah.
Although that's the only explanation I can give for why that interaction
Yeah.
makes
It's
sense.
just a mom that knows. I believe that the mom would know, especially like you talk to other parents and
Mhm.
she's probably been to a sports game. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't think it's that weird. Um, Mandy is like, he would never date a girl like me. And also, my worth is not determined by a boy because she's a feminist, you know?
Yeah.
Also, that's just a good sentiment to have.
Yeah, no, it is. But I'm saying she has to bring it up because that's just her
Yes, it
personality.
is.
Yeah.
It's a less jarring bring up moment.
No, you're right. You're right.
There is
There's some very jarring.
there's a specific moment pretty soon here that's my favorite single random feminist bring up,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and we'll get to it.
Okay, so the mom is like, I love that, you know, but also you're young and I want you to have fun and make memories. You know, you should put some hot Cheetos in your teacher's car because I did that when I was a teenager.
What is that prank?
Is that like an innuendo? Is hot
No.
Cheetos an
No,
innuendo?
flaming hot Cheetos.
I think the
No.
idea is you get the dust all over their car,
Probably, and it smells like flaming hot Cheetos.
but I also feel like that's just a bad prank.
Well, maybe her mom's lame. Like, anyway, Mandy's like, I'm going out with Ben. We're gonna do books, movie, and waffles because they do this every Friday night. And yeah, the mom's like, you do this every Friday night, and Mandy's like, see, it's memorable for you too.
So that's a nice slap back.
Yeah, that's a good slap time. All right, so then Ben picks her up, and he's all sad about work because he was getting bullied by a 14-year-old. And
Have you ever been
Graham.
bullied by a 14-year-old? It hurts.
It probably does, but
Have you been bullied by a 14-year-old?
I can imagine. I sympathize.
Mandy's like, what's wrong? Was it that skid mark Kyle? Yeah, call him a skid mark, that little piece of shit. He needs to be knocked down. He's only 14. And he really thinks he's this cool.
He's only 13.
He's also a bully.
He
which
skipped
is
a
not
grade.
cool.
He's not cool. Ugh, he's like the worst. And Ben's like, I don't want to talk about it. So then Mandy starts playing some Imagine Dragons, and he's like, no, it's not going to work. Imagine Dragons were my favorite band in freshman year, but like that was 4 years ago, whatever. But then it cuts to them singing Believer by Imagine Dragons, and they're like really into it, and it's really cute.
He's kind of distracted driving. But
Yeah, it's probably not
cute.
that big.
It's cute enough.
He's like the suburbs. It's fine.
He
Yeah,
also does have both his hands on the steering wheel,
Yeah.
I think. So
Okay, so then we also see them, they go to the bookstore and they see a movie, and then we meet them at this diner that they go to get waffles. And out the
well,
window.
not waffles.
Oh, one
Waffle. They only get one waffle.
It's like a giant waffle that they
it's
share.
not
It's not that
It's a
big.
regular sized waffle.
Ginormous. It's like as big as the table, and they share the waffle.
It is a normal sized waffle, but they probably just ate popcorn. So
They eat popcorn, and they probably don't have like a ton of
it's
money.
not really dinner.
Waffles are a dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do this every week, like, yeah, I'd probably just end up splitting a waffle. You're good. Okay. So out the window, there's a promposal, and they're doing "Addicted to Love" by Robert Palmer. They like are remaking the music video, which is, you know, Robert has a guitar and some girls are on the guitar, like just kind of swaying with no emotion on their face. That's the music video.
Basically, every other scene in this movie has a promposal within it.
Yeah, there's a lot of promposals happening in
They're
the
just
background.
happening in the background,
Yeah.
and they're like very slightly touched upon. And that's kind of fun because they had to come up with some clever ideas because everyone in this town goes all out for prom.
Yeah, and everyone's like going with the 80s theme. They're having a lot of fun
They're
with it.
invested.
Yeah, every teenager loves the 80s, apparently. I didn't know this. I like the 80s. So maybe the general like teenage public also likes the 80s.
They know a lot about 80s movies.
Ew. Well, that's just a music video. So maybe he just looked up 80s music videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Ben is like longing for a social life, kind of, because he's like, we've been doing this. We don't go to parties. I'm just worried that I'm like kind of missing my chance to have a high school experience, basically. And Mandy's like, real life starts in college. And Ben's like, but I'm not going to Harvard. Like, I'm going to be going to some community college with all of these other people in high school, and they're going to have amazing stories, whatever. But Mandy's like, meh. And then Ben's like, whatever, forget it. And he goes to order the waffle. So then Mandy writes prom and ketchup on like this placemat thing, which is disgusting. But
She even, I think, makes a rectangle around it as well, just for
no,
flair.
I
No?
think that was just the placemat.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. So Ben comes back and he's like, prom, and she's like, yeah, for real. I want to go to prom with you because we're best friends, and you really want to go, but like, there's no big production. I'm not doing a limo or anything, and no slow dancing. The only thing I hate more than slow dancing is the gender wage gap.
Bars. What a line.
Did she say ironically in the scene?
No, she said it
Okay.
straight.
When I watched it, I wasn't sure if she meant it ironically.
I think she says straight up.
It's so funny to me. Just imagine anyone saying that in real life.
I can imagine people saying it ironically.
Yeah, and imagine anyone saying it seriously in real life. I
Yeah.
can't imagine that.
And she goes, do you accept my prom pact? Oh my god, get it like the title of the movie. She's like, do you accept my prom pact?
I didn't realize that till now.
Oh, thank you. I'm pretty smart. And he accepts, and they like do this double tap on the back of their hands, like their thing.
That's their secret handshake. That's not secret.
Bam, bam. It's just a little tap, tap.
It's a high five twice, but instead of using the front of your hand, you use the back.
Yeah, they do it a lot throughout the movie. So, and then the waffle comes out, and she's like, "There's no chocolate chips in this," and he's like, "Oh yeah, when I ordered it, I was mad at you." But now this is exciting. Let's eat the waffle. It's a celebratory waffle.
It's pretty funny.
It was funny.
Just be like, I'm annoyed right now. You're not getting chocolate chips.
I think Milo Manheim's really good at like that short little quips and like being kind of goofy, silly.
I like his acting.
It's where he strives. He does a lot of that in Zombies too, and also that like awkwardness.
He's no Meg Donnelly, but he's good.
He's good. Yeah, no, I'm in love with Meg Donnelly.
We both are. That's our combined crush.
Yeah. Love her. Well, wait till we talk about Zombies. All right. Okay, so now we cut to high school. Their high school is called North Seattle High. So just in case you missed it, they are in Seattle. You have to have a pretty keen eye to realize where they are.
Isn't Seattle where the Space Needle is?
Well, we don't. Well, yeah, but we haven't seen the Space
Hey, maybe
Needle.
in this,
We haven't seen it yet?
No.
Maybe in this universe, the Space Needle got moved to a different state.
They like picked it up and they put it in space.
It's a real Christmas Prince moment.
What?
It's a Christmas Prince moment where they show the wrong city.
They showed the wrong city? Oh, because it
In
wasn't
the first
it was
one,
supposed
all
to
of
be-
like the stock footage.
It was supposed to be New York,
yes,
right?
it's New York, and they'll like show like I don't know if they show that, but they show like the Golden Gate Bridge, I think, or something.
Just the wrong city.
Yes. Like notable buildings from the wrong place.
Love Christmas Prince.
Yes.
All right. So they pull into school, and Mandy's like, oh my God, the Harvard application has updated. She refreshes it, and she's waitlisted. And she's absolutely devastated. He's like, it's not like you're rejected. And she's like, that's basically the same thing as being rejected. Which it's not, but it does suck to be waitlisted to your number one choice.
It's a reason to be sad about it, but yeah, she can't be acting like it's done. She should have put this on her outcome possibility. She was only preparing for 2 outcomes.
She put all
She
of her
should have
eggs in
prepared
one
for
basket.
3 outcomes.
Yeah.
At the moment, she doesn't want encouragement. She just wants acknowledgement that her angry feelings are valid.
But then Ben actually does give her encouragement. He's like, come on, you're a fighter. Like, the Mandy I knows would storm in and find a way to get to Harvard. And she's like, you know what, you're right. So she like picks herself up and she goes to talk to the counselor. So there's another student talking to Miss Chen, and she's like, I have another student here. And Mandy goes, it's okay, I'll wait. And then they sit there and she looks at the student, and then the student just gets up and leaves. And Miss Chen goes, I'm only going to let this slide because I don't like that kid. What? Was that a joke, or did she actually not like that?
I think it's a joke.
I think she doesn't like the kid.
She let it slide.
I think it's a joke, but she also doesn't like the kid.
It both
It
are
can
true.
be both.
Both are true. Okay. So, Mandy's like, how do I get into Harvard? I'm on the wait list. And Miss Chen is like, well, first she's like, go to a different school. And Mandy's like, no. She's like, okay, fine. Get a letter of recommendation. And she's like, you could get a good teacher letter recommendation that talks about everything you've done, that someone that knows you. But Mandy's like,
Hint, me.
yeah. And Mandy's like, what about Graham Lansing's dad? He's a senator, he's state senator, and
Not state senator. He's the senator of the U.S.
well,
He's not a state senator.
no, I
Did
meant
they
yeah, but
establish
he's a
that?
senator for the state of because that's how senators
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also
Sorry, no.
state senators.
Yeah, no, you're
state
right.
government.
I should have clarified better. Yes, he is a senator like for Washington in the United States government, and he's a Harvard alum. So, letter of rec from him would be very flashy and nice. And she's like, "Do you know him, Miss Chen?" And Miss Chen's like, "No, I don't. Like, you don't know him either. So just like get a good teacher one." So like I think that's your best chance. But then Mandy decides, "Nope, I'm not gonna do that." And she goes to talk to Ben, and she's like, "I need to get close to Graham so I can get close to his dad and get a letter of recommendation from him because obviously this is her only chance, right?"
This is the only way this could possibly work to get off a
Yeah.
wait
Yeah,
list.
and Ben is
It's
like
not like they accept people off the wait list without
without anything happening. Yeah, no, that would never happen. Well, it is a good idea to send something else
Yeah.
in.
yeah.
But she's like, it has to be from Graham Lansing's dad
He
for
becomes
sure.
one track minded on
Mhm.
this.
Yeah. So Ben is like, this isn't very ethical to try and get close to Graham to get close to his dad. But Mandy's like, men take advantage of women all the time. So it's fine.
It's not,
It's
but
worked for me to get into Harvard.
Yeah, she's like,
She hasn't learned yet that there's things more important in life than Harvard.
yeah, she's like, it's just Harvard. I'm sure men have done worse things for worse.
For
Like,
less.
For less, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
done worse for worse actually works.
It does work. Okay. So then Ben like sees Latoya Reynolds across the way, and he's like, you know what? I'm in. Because if we get close to Graham, that means we get close to all the Everests, and that includes Latoya.
I didn't realize that was his thing.
Yeah.
The motivation.
Yep. That's kind of why he agrees to go
Mm.
along. He's like, let's do your little 80s.
He's
movie
also
thing.
having a little eighth life crisis.
Yeah. We know he wants to be social, so that's
Yeah, he wanted to go to a party.
he wants to put himself out there. Yeah. Okay, we also see in the background there's a proposal for the guy is like in a TV, which I think is some weird 80s reference that I don't understand. Like,
I don't remember the
guy's in a
visual enough.
TV?
yeah, he like has a TV around his head. And I tried to look it up, and I think there's some show or something where that was a thing, but I don't know it actually. So,
I don't remember the scene enough to tell you.
No.
okay. And then as they're walking through the school, we also see another promposal in the background, and they open umbrellas that say prom. And I don't know if that's an 80s reference at all.
I'm sure they both are 80s references.
I was like, umbrellas? What is that about?
Singing in the Rain's pre-80s, I think.
Yeah,
By a little bit.
It definitely is. So I have no idea what the umbrellas are about.
Did
If
the
you-
song Umbrella come out in the 80s?
No.
If you know of an 80s umbrella reference, please let us know. It might just be a generic promposal.
Mm.
Which, come on, go with the theme. So then Mandy asks Ben, she's like, all right, tell me everything you know about Graham. And he's like, all right, well, he plays basketball. He's on a basketball team. And they're like, okay, well, then there's some gaps we need to fill. They really don't know anything about Graham. So then Charles and
Yeah, this is really a
Zenobia-
half-baked plan at this point.
Yeah, it is. Charles and Zenobia come up. And they're like, oh my God, Mandy, we're so sorry that you didn't get into Harvard. We already ordered an edible arrangement for you. Which is awesome. And then Mandy's like, you know what? It's okay. Actually, what I need from you guys is tell me everything you know about Graham. And they're like, well, he's probably going to go to this party tonight that all the seniors are going to.
Except you two, obviously.
Except for you two, because you're lame-os. They don't say that. They're friends. And then Zanob, which is apparently her nickname.
Oh.
Yeah. Or Zanob, probably.
Or just an actor forgot her character's name.
No, her
Or
name-
you just wrote it as shorthand.
No, they actually, because at this one I didn't know her name, and he specifically said Zanob, which her name is Zenobia. Like, it's short for her name. She's like, they have AP Psych together, and she heard him asking the teacher for extra credit. So Mandy is like, okay, I have a plan. We're going to go to the party. I'll offer to tutor him for free. I'll gain his trust, and then I'll ask for the letter. Boom.
Easy.
So they go to the party. They like knock on the door and open it up, and they're like, "Who invited the party virgins?" Which I think probably in the moment I thought this was another joke about him being a virgin, but they specifically say party virgin,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
And I think it said they awkwardly showed up, went and let the door open, and just stood there for a bit.
Knocked on the door, which it's a huge party. You probably just don't need to knock.
They ring the doorbell.
Yeah, it's like, dude, they don't know how to act at a party. Not that I really do either, because I did not go to parties, but I know that's not it.
You
Okay.
don't just talk to everyone about where's Graham.
Nope. So they split up to go find Graham, but then Ben sees LaToya talking with a group of people, and he like kind of interjects in the conversation.
It's so awkward.
It's really awkward. And he makes a little joke that like LaToya laughs at, but it's still really awkward. She's running like a gardening building thing tomorrow for the cheerleaders and the basketball team, and she's complaining that nobody's going to show up because they're all getting drunk tonight.
They're getting hammered.
They're getting hammered, right? She doesn't say drunk. She says like trash. Hammered.
Yeah, they're just going to be too tired. They're staying up late at a party.
Yeah.
And they're going to get hammered, and then they can't swing a hammer.
Right. So they do say hammered. Yeah, that was the joke he said.
It was hilarious.
So he's super awkward, and LaToya like maybe finds him cute. I don't know.
It looked like at this point she was kind of annoyed with him.
Didn't even notice her laughing, did she?
She did laugh at the hammer joke.
Okay.
Yeah. And then throughout the rest of the party, for what we see for Ben, is he like starts collecting everybody's cups and throwing them away.
And they're red Solo cups.
They are. Yeah.
I was expecting like blue Solo cups because this is a Disney Channel movie.
So then we get Mandy going through the party looking for Graham. She sees a guy in a Karate Kid outfit in the bathroom, and he says, like, "Erica, you want to kick it with me at prom?"
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, yeah. And then she walks in on two boys making out / maybe this was a blowjob.
I think it's a
The head
blowjob.
positioning was blowjob. You rewatched the scene. We didn't rewatch the scene.
I rewatched the scene,
but I had the same interpretation as like at least 3 other people from that.
It looks like an implied blowjob to me.
To me, like his head pops up immediately. Like there's not like even really a second before his head pops up, and then the other guy's head pops up like the same head position.
It's a weird argument that we're having.
Yeah,
Singles. We don't know their body types.
Yeah, but
anyway, anything.
She sees the first guy and she's like, "Is Graham here?" And he goes, "I wish." And then the other guy pops up and goes, "Hey," because they're gay.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my god."
There are multiple gay characters in this film.
Are they characters?
Not really.
And then they
there's at least one.
Yes, there's at least one.
But then Mandy literally goes like, "Oh, sorry, like I'm an ally," like, and then they continue to make out. Whatever. Yeah, she literally
says, "I did not hear her say that."
She literally says, "Sorry, I'm an ally." Why? Because she's like, "Oh my god, don't worry, I'm not offended that you guys are making out in here.
I'm not offended that you're giving a blowjob.
I'm an ally."
Okay, Mandy.
Yeah,
that's.
Oh, I also realized that the background music during this like little montage is a song that goes, "Wow, you can really dance. Wow, you can really dance." No. It's a TikTok.
I recognize that.
It's a song on TikTok, and then
everything's an 80s song.
But then it goes like he went bam bam bam, she went bam bam bam. They said we've both been dancing all this time. What a coincidence!
What's a pun?
Yeah, it was a sound on TikTok that I found funny, so I like that was the background song.
Oh no, yeah, it says like 2017.
Yeah, it was recent. They didn't have just 80s music in this movie. No. They do have a good bit, but
Shins wasn't the 80s.
Nope. Okay, so the Mandy's like, she's had it, right? She starts yelling at this guy. She's like, "Graham Lansing, I'm looking for him. He's a Neanderthal whose only forms of communication are grunts and go Bulldogs." And then everyone's quiet, right? They all hear her.
She was yelling this in a loud party.
Yeah, like the music turns off and Graham is right behind her and there's a pause and she's like, "Oh, fuck." And then he goes, Go Bulldogs.
That is the best way to get out of it if you're Graham.
Yeah.
I want to say that
Just
is
like own it.
good social intelligence move right there.
He's very socially intelligent. He's the most popular guy, and he's like very charismatic.
They do the right thing in making the most popular guy a charismatic person, unlike a lot of other DCOMs where they make the most popular person, normally a girl,
Everyone hates.
when in there, someone that exclusively does mean things to people.
Yeah, if it's a girl, they're mean. If it's a guy, he's usually dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of the stereotypes. But
Yeah.
like Graham is really charismatic.
Is Graham a himbo?
No,
he's too smart, I think. I
Is
mean,
he smart?
he's not book
Celebrity's getting
smart.
a B plus.
He's socially smart.
Maybe in the 80s.
He's not.
but-
He's not.
I
book
feel
smart.
like he is definitionally a himbo, but he doesn't feel like a himbo because he's getting a tutor, and like that's part of the whole plot here, and he feels academically not successful.
Yeah.
That's like a whole part of his plot.
But a lot of it too is like revealed that it's his dad's trauma and his dad always saying you're not good enough. But he has a lot of potential there. Like he has potential to be smart. And he's very socially smart.
So yeah. Let us know.
Let us know if Graham's a
Yes.
himbo.
They really want.
They
They really want fan mail.
He's no Coog. Like Graham isn't going around saying stupid stuff all the time, unlike the Coog, who is just always saying dumb shit.
Yeah.
You know? So that makes me think he's not him. Anyway, they're leaving, and Mandy's like, it's all over, and Ben's like, you know what though? Latoya mentioned this like gardening thing tomorrow morning, and Graham's probably gonna be there because he's the captain. And so maybe it's not over. And she's like, you talked to Latoya Reynolds? And he's like, well, yeah, whatever. Oh my god, so then we cut to the next scene and we see the Space Needle. They're in Seattle, get it? Because there's a Space Needle.
Whoa.
Yeah. So they're at the gardening building, and Mandy is struggling with a nail gun. And she hears a guy going, you want help? And at first she starts to say, I don't need a man's help. And then she sees Graham. And she goes, yes, please, because she wants to talk to Graham. And Graham hooks it up actually to like the air compressor because you need that for a nail gun to work. And then it starts working.
He doesn't know how to do a tool.
So she goes like, not too bad for a Neanderthal, huh? So Mandy starts to apologize, and she's like, so I heard you're in AP Psych with my friend Zenobia. And at first he's like, no, I'm not. And she's like, you don't have this teacher? And he's like, oh yeah, I do. Is it third period? She's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I guess I do have it with her. Like,
He's just not good with names.
no. And she offers to tutor him since she took the class last year. And at first he goes like, nah, I'm good. So she starts to convince him, and then he goes like, what's the catch? Because, you know, she obviously wants something. He's like, you've never talked to me until now. And now all of a sudden you're like crashing parties and coming into the gardening thing that's for like the basketball team, whatever. Like what is going on? Like we've never talked.
It's very suspicious.
And he goes, do you want like a selfie with me or something? And she's like, no, there's no catch. I'm just like a nice person trying to do a nice thing.
There is a catch.
There is, but she's not telling him.
Man, I guess I'm hoping this lie that starts a relationship doesn't haunt them.
It doesn't really.
And then at the car, Mandy shows Ben that Graham took a selfie, like on her phone, or sent her a selfie or something. And she's like, whatever, but I'm in. I'm his tutor now. And they're like, woo. And then she teases Ben more about liking Latoya Reynolds. So, yeah. So then in the library, Mandy and Graham start tutoring. And then this little bit where she's like, you're 5 minutes late. And Graham's like, that's it? That's not that bad. And honestly, it's not that bad. Like,
I mean, I don't know how long this period is.
Well, I don't know. It might be after school. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, Mandy has a Save the Bees shirt on that he points out. This comes back later. Then some girls like take pictures of Graham in the library, and he's like, oh, that's just the freshman girls taking pictures of me. It's a little game they play where they take pictures.
It's a very funny game, and I
Yeah.
don't get the point of it. And it doesn't come back.
No, it's just he's popular, get it? And then there's another promposal, and it's the Breakfast Club theme, where they're doing the little dance, you know, that they do in Breakfast Club. And Graham starts recording it because it's a cute little promposal.
He loves promposals.
Yeah, and she's like, do you like know those guys? And he's like, no, I don't know them. I just, I like the content. Like, it's fun little promposal. It's fun. And Mandy's like, on that note, like, does Jody even like the Ghostbusters? And he's like, I don't know. And she's like, shouldn't the promposal like be about the girl and her interests?
So feminist.
I disagree with Mandy on this because the theme is 80s and they're just having fun with the theme, you know?
I think it's bigger to have fun with theme. If it can be something that matters to them, that's better. But it's not a requirement.
Yeah. Like, I think she needs to chill a little bit. All right. So then Ben is in line to get prom tickets, and Latoya Reynolds is selling the tickets because she's class president. This makes sense. And he's like, I need 2 tickets. And she goes, all right, 2 tickets for Ben Plunkett. And he says it. And she's like, I know your name, Ben. And he's like, oh my God, what? You know my name? And she's like, yeah, we like did a group project together. We've been in the same class. And he's just like so flustered that she knows who he is. And she's like, do you know my name? And he's like, of course I do, of course. And she's like, but he's not saying it. She's like, you don't even know my name. And he's like, yes, I do. You're Latoya Reynolds. Of course I know your name. And it's just kind of awkward and flirty, but she seems to kind of be into it.
She is way less awkward than he is,
Yeah.
and it really doesn't feel balanced at all the entire movie.
All of their interactions had me covering my eyes. Well,
I think it's cute.
It can be cute and cringy at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what this is. He's very cringy.
Yeah.
He not really being cringe back makes it even more cringy than if they were both cringe together.
Mm-hmm.
So then back to tutoring, Graham is just not paying attention to what Mandy's saying. And he's like, if you just keep talking at me like the teacher does, like, I'm gonna get antsy. Because obviously he's not learning this stuff, and the best way for him to learn isn't just to be talked at. She like insults him, but then she goes, wait, I'm sorry, like, let's start over. So then she takes him to the basketball court to like teach him while he moves around, because if he's gonna get antsy, it's better to like redirect the energy into something else, and it'll help him listen more. And it works. So then we get a little montage and bad guys playing in the background, and Mandy's teaching him while he plays basketball. Also they mentioned that like he's learning psychology things, and they say the stereotype threat is where someone does worse academically because they're told they're not good enough. And Graham goes, dang, that one cuts deep. Thanks, Dad. Yikes!
Ooh. It's fun. I obviously did psych as a major, so it's fun hearing some concepts of stuff that like I studied. This is all psych terms. There's nothing blatantly incorrect about what they're learning.
That's good. So then he gets an 88 on his quiz, and he like hugs Mandy in the hallway. So yeah, things are going well. And we see another promposal of the guy like holding the boombox above his head.
The scene from Say Anything.
Yeah, that's what it is. And Graham whispers to Mandy, like, I bet that girl doesn't even like John Cusack. So they're like kind of becoming friends now.
I think in the film, those two don't get together.
No, I've heard like the film is actually pretty problematic, is what I've heard about Say Anything. I've never watched it, but everybody knows that scene of John Cusack holding up the boombox. All right, so after the montage ended, Graham's like, now I'm going to teach you how to shoot a basketball. And he's like, the way we teach shooting a free throw is beef. It stands for balance, eyes, elbow, and follow through. And he's like, sorry if that offends you as a vegetarian. And she's like, how'd you know I was vegetarian? And he's like, I assumed.
It fits her character. She's very tropey.
So Mandy's very bad at shooting at first, but then he coaches her through it. And then he goes like, do I have permission to touch your arm? And he's getting all closer. I'm like, oh my God, consent king. And there's a lot of like chemistry. Oh my God, I eat this stuff up.
It's funny that he's teaching how to do a free throw and doing like all the elbow balance and everything about that, when it is scientifically proven that the best way to shoot a free throw is actually granny style, where you do 2 hands between your legs and throw
does it that way.
Because NBA players don't think it's cool, and like at that high of level, it's only going to increase by a couple percent. But like there were professional NBA players doing granny style. There are like NBA players, not anymore right now, but there probably will be again in our lifetime.
Do you know what granny is an acronym for?
Grandiose art. Narcissism, you have to think to
Wait,
yourself
so
that
the
you can
R
do
is
it.
the R? No, that's R. Is that the R? Or was that the A?
The R is arch.
Oh my god.
The A is aim. Sorry.
And
N is narcissism. You have to believe that you can make it.
and again.
N is the end of the ball. You have to hold it with the end of your fingers.
What?
And then
Why?
Y is just yuck it up there.
Yeah. All right.
Perfect.
So then he goes, if you make this, I'll ace my test. And then she makes it.
So
And
he
tell
aces
her-
his test.
No, does
Well,
he
we
get like a 90 something?
We don't find out.
I think he doesn't he say it?
He got an 88 earlier.
On the quiz.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We don't know how he does on the test. But
Uh-huh.
probably pretty good.
God.
He aced it. We know.
And then
His fate.
she's like, "You're a good coach," and he's like, "Yeah, I better be. I coach at the rec center. I coach like 9-year-olds in basketball." And he's like, "You should come with me." So then they go to the rec center to coach, and Mandy is playing with the kids, and she's not very good, and so it's kind of funny. And then she blocks one of Graham's shots and like celebrates all over. I'm like, "Wow, I got you." And then at the end of practice, Graham is like, "Hey, you guys did such a good job today. And just for that, if I make this shot, I'll bring donuts next practice."
Which is really funny because it's nothing they can influence. And if he misses, he just is going to be like, I'm going to bring donuts anyways.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just sad.
He's just like making himself look cool, honestly, in front of the kids. And then he makes a half court shot.
No one can do that with a consistency high enough to be guaranteed.
Yeah.
Best NBA like basketball shooter of all time, Steph Curry. And like, no, he couldn't do this with ease, half court.
No, I think he
guaranteed.
got lucky. Like,
But like the fact that he's like, I'm gonna do it, and then he does it, it's just kind of
you gotta
annoying.
have the confidence to make it even cooler.
Yeah, I forgot that's the N in Grannies. It's a narcissist.
Yeah, duh. And then Mandy's talking to one of the kids, and she mentions that Mandy's the only girl he's ever brought to this. So it's like, well, she's different. Okay. So then at school, Mandy tells Ben that she's going to Graham's house on Friday to tutor him. And Ben's like, "That's our date night." And she's like, "Yeah, well, let's just like skip the book part." And he's like, "Okay, well, as long as we can still see the movie, then it'll be fine." And then he jokes that she might have to go to Brown, and she's like, "Don't even joke about that." As if Brown's an awful school. You know
Poor
what I mean?
Brown.
Yeah, I know.
Did Brown do anything to Disney?
They didn't accept Walt Disney. I don't know.
Yes. Walt Disney wrote this movie.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he did. Yeah.
This is a Disney original movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Duh.
Not Disney Channel. This was Disney.
No, Disney.
It's a
yeah.
Walt Disney classic.
Yeah. Prom Pact.
Well, like this is in the Disney Vault of Scripts. They have hundreds of scripts that Walt Disney
Wow.
himself wrote that
Walt
they just
Disney-
pull out.
Walt Disney foresaw selfies.
Yeah, Walt Disney, like apparently him being anti-Semitic and kind of a terrible person in real life, it's just, you know what? He made some scripts that are more progressive later.
There were no Jewish people in this movie that we know of.
Good point. Good
Yeah.
point.
So then,
We're just not going to comment on that.
trying to move this along.
Okay, fair.
Mandy gets to Graham's big fancy house, and the mom answers the door, and she's like, "Thank you, Mandy, for being his tutor." And then Graham's at the top of the stairs without a shirt, and the mom's like, "What the heck? Put on a shirt." And Mandy's all flustered because he doesn't have a shirt.
It is weird he doesn't have a shirt.
Yeah, no, he should have.
He wants to show off.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy.
Then she's like, "Sorry about that." Like, and we learn that she has 4 boys, so Graham has 3 brothers. And then she leaves to answer the phone, and Mandy starts looking at this achievement wall, and she sees that she sees that Graham's brothers have a bunch of like academic achievements, like they go to Harvard, whatever. Graham comes and he's like, "Yeah, I don't have anything on the achievement wall, just this 5th grade like graduation."
Which, what a yikes.
Yeah, and she's like,
That's bad parenting.
"What about all your like basketball trophies and you won homecoming king, whatever?" And apparently the dad doesn't think those count for the wall because they're not actual achievements. They're just popularity contests and silly games. And Mandy's like, he's literally a senator. Like
He also played basketball.
he literally, his job was winning a popularity contest. And Graham's like, "Yeah, that's what I said," but he doesn't see it that way. So
I might be misremembering this, but I feel like his 5th grade graduation was also on a different wall
It was.
from that
Well-
main wall. That main wall had all their achievements, and there was one wall with just his picture on it.
I think each boy gets their own section of the wall.
And his was that
And
whole
hers-
corner.
Oh, so it was just a whole. They put it on a different corner. Everyone else was on like this
He's
one
the
wall
fourth-
segment.
He's the 4th boy, like you can't fit. The wall probably wasn't big enough to fit 4, so they like put him on the side. And it wouldn't look weird if it was filled with stuff, but it's just that one frame. Yeah. So then they're out like in the backyard. There's a basketball hoop. And they talk about their parents. And Graham's like, yeah, my mom's easy to get along with, but my dad's never pleased. I only took this AP class because I wanted to impress him. And then they start like asking questions to each other and passing the ball as this like cute little thing. And they talk about like your favorite movie or whatever and your first kiss and blah blah blah. And then they're like getting closer and closer to each other. And he says, do you think I was just a dumb jock before this? And she goes, yes. And she goes, did you know who I was before this? And he says, no. And then they're like right up close to each other. And he goes, why'd you offer to tutor me? Because
Do you think she would have told in this situation if
No.
not called?
nope,
No?
she was not. I do not believe she was going to say it. But then the mom calls him in so she doesn't have to. But I fully believe she was going to lie about it.
I feel like there is a point in this relationship, and it's right around here, where she could have said, the reason I started talking to you was because I wanted your father to help me get into Harvard. But I do think my opinions of you have changed a lot, and I am realizing a lot of my own biases came out in this way.
I don't
feel
know.
like there's a dialogue there.
I think she could have said it at that moment, and
I
it would have worked out fine.
Because
I don't know.
they're not too deep in where
Yeah,
everything's based
Because
on
he
a
was
lie.
suspicious of her the entire time.
I don't know. I don't think their relationship would have really progressed as it did if she said that.
Well, it would be different, yeah.
The
But
relationship barely progressed.
What do you
after
mean? They
this.
literally like kiss.
That's true.
What do you mean it doesn't progress?
It does progress. I meant that like they don't have many interactions between this and them kissing.
I mean, they do though. They like go to the whole.
I didn't rewatch
fundraiser.
the movie,
Yeah.
so
Okay, so the mom calls him in, and Graham offers Mandy to stay for dinner, and she's like, yes. And he's like, oh, only if you want to. And she's like, yes, I do want you to. If you want me to. He's like, yes, I do want you to. So yeah,
it's very uncomfortable, awkward.
flirty and it's cute.
I put my hands over my eyes and was like, oh no.
So then Mandy texts Ben that she has to bail on the movie, and he already got the tickets. So she's like, I'm sorry, it's for my future. Can you return them? And he's like, oh, fine, like I'll try. So then he gets in line to return the tickets, and he sees Latoya standing in front of him, and he screams her name, and she like is startled, like, oh, what? And they talk, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm seeing this movie and not going to a party. And it's because Michael B. Jordan's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever he goes, she goes.
she is very into Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh, I have an extra ticket for that movie if you want to use it. But also, like, no pressure at all. So, like, it's not like a date or anything. And he's being very awkward. He's like, we don't even have to sit next to each other. And she's like, I'd love to. And we can sit next to each other. And he goes, okay, good, because the seats were assigned.
He is very awkward.
Yeah, he's very awkward. Okay, so then at the family dinner, the reason Mandy really wanted to go is because the dad was supposed to be there, but then the mom's like, sorry, dad can make the dinner after all, because he's like schmoozing some people.
It's a re-election season, and a donor wanted dinner, so you just have to do it.
Yep. So then they start talking like, oh, Mandy, where do you want to go to college? She's like, I want to go to Harvard. And she's like, this is really awesome, Professor Downs. And the mom's like, oh my God, I know her. She's awesome. And so they bond over that. And then Mandy mentions that she's waitlisted. And the mom's like, well, you know, my husband went to Harvard. And Mandy goes, oh, no, I did not know that.
Why did you say you didn't know that? It's like, you were talking about it earlier as being public knowledge.
She didn't say yes.
And
But I think
this
I
just
did hear
hurts
that.
her at any point of coming out with the lie. Which, it's a misplay. This situation to say you didn't know that.
And this is why, too, I think it's
Mandy,
more for Graham to get. It's more justified for Graham to get angry because he's like, you played me so hard. You made me even think that you didn't know my dad went to Harvard, but the whole time you did. So like, yeah. So the mom says you should come to this fundraiser we're doing next week to meet him. And Graham is like, oh, she probably doesn't want to, but she goes, yes, I would love to because she wants to meet the dad. So, yep. All right. So then after the movie, it's Ben and LaToya. LaToya is like, I want Michael B. Jordan in every single movie ever. And they like are flirting or whatever.
Just like put them in old movies and
put 'em in
remake
old
them
movies.
and have the only difference be randomly insert Michael B. Jordan into the cast.
Put him in Titanic.
Like they're just imagine if we did that as a society where we just took one actor, started remaking all movies and putting them in. Like we did that with the Muppets.
all DCOMs.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Who does Michael B. Jordan play in each DCOM?
We got to go through all 115 of them. So, in Under Wraps, he's the mummy.
We're going in order. Okay.
Well, second. I don't even know.
Second's You Lucky Dog. He's the
He's the
dog.
dog. Yeah, this is gonna be great.
That's a bad casting.
Okay.
I
Third-
haven't seen that movie, but isn't there someone who like I don't remember?
It's not a good movie.
No, it's not. Okay, so anyway, back to this movie. So they're at LaToya's car, and she's like, "Don't you and Mandy usually get waffles after the movie?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then she starts saying, like, "Do you wanna?" But then he goes, "See you at school," and he shakes her hand instead of going to waffles with her, and it's he missed his chance. Which maybe would have been a little weird because that's him and Mandy's thing,
Mm-mm.
but yeah.
He would regret it immediately.
Yeah, he's like,
Mandy's like,
"Idiot."
you turned her down. She would have been okay with it. But that's also a thing where it's a character trait of his where he thinks things I do with Mandy are exclusively for Mandy, and I
Yeah.
can't change that.
He's
And that's
very
a character flaw
loyal.
the film like will bring up and say, you
Yeah.
need to break off of Mandy a bit.
Yeah, he's very loyal to her. So he says no. Well, he just says, like, "See you at school." And he shakes her hand. And then he starts running full sprint down the street. And I didn't catch this first time because we were talking, but he goes, like, "You're
Running is making it worse.
It's really funny. Oh, okay. So then Graham walks Mandy to her car after dinner. And he says that he's happy that Mandy's going to the fundraiser. And then his dad will be impressed that she's a Harvard girl, even though she's just a Harvard hopeful. And he's like, yeah, my dad didn't let me apply to Harvard, even though I would have been accepted on a basketball scholarship because I'm a legacy. Because dad was.
Something I want to mention here as the sports guy.
Yeah.
That is somewhat like, I don't know exactly how legacy is going to work on that in terms of getting him into the college, but the Ivy League and Harvard's in the Ivy League is actually pretty particular still about admissions to like the Ivy League universities for athletic scholarships, where they do not lower admission standards that much to add you to an athletics team.
They probably don't care as much about athletics.
The truth is the baseline window for a school like Harvard is actually not crazy high, but it is still quite high. So a lot of people can get in that. And if you're in sports, you can turn a mediocre resume within that like floor, if you're above the floor, and get in. But you can't if you're below that floor.
Yeah.
But I don't know, with legacy, maybe he could just get in anyways.
Yeah. But his dad doesn't want him at Harvard because he says he'll be an embarrassment.
Yikes. That's a bad.
Oh, he's a bad guy. And Mandy's like, that sucks. Well, you should have done it anyway. Like, you don't have to live your life for his approval. And she goes, sorry, like, you didn't ask for my opinion. And he goes, no, I like hearing your opinion. And they say goodbye, and he's like, don't miss me too much. He is cute. Okay, so then Ben's at this, like, clothing shop, and he's trying on all these lame jackets because he wants to look like 80s, right? So it's an 80s prom. And
the jackets were that lame.
They were, the first one he has on was ugly, but then Ruth, the shop runner, says he has like lady shoulders. I don't know. Mandy shows up and is like, yeah, let's find you a better jacket. And they have like a clothing montage. Honestly, this part of the movie is not necessary at all. But it's there.
Yeah, it's one of the most filler parts of the movie, and I feel like this movie doesn't have a lot of filler.
I think it's just establishing that like they're looking for 80s clothes for the prom. So that comes back later. So all right. At school, there's another promposal. It's Back to the Future, and it's the two guys that were doing the blowjob thing. Great Scott, will you go to prom with me? Whatever. Back
Honestly,
to the
it's
Future.
one of the least inspired ones. There's a lot you can do in that movie.
Dressed up.
Yeah.
It's cute. Okay, Mandy records the promposal and sends it to Graham. Like, she's like, I know how much you like promposals. And then he sends a selfie back. He's like, I know how much you like my selfies. So they're like flirting. And then Ben comes up and he's like, what should we do on Saturday? I think we should go to the Olive Garden. She's like, what? And he's like, yeah, my birthday's on Saturday. And she goes, oh my gosh, the fundraiser is on Saturday.
Oh my god. Mandy's not a good friend this whole movie.
She's like, let's just do Friday night. And he says, no, I'm going to go see my grandpa at the retirement home on Friday. It has to be Saturday. Maybe they could do Sunday, but apparently not.
Yeah, Sunday's the holy day. You gotta rest.
Can't go to the Olive Garden on Sunday. And like too that he's like, let's like be fancy and go to the Olive Garden.
That's where we're going after this.
Yeah, we're having a celebratory dinner for me because I got a promotion at work, and I'm like, honestly, I want to go to Olive Garden, and it feels very fitting with Prom Pact, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so Manny's like, I'm so sorry, but you can still go with Charles and Zenobia on Saturday, and he's like, no, they have a band competition thing. Like,
Yeah, remember they were in band?
yeah, they're in band.
Not that important, but yeah, whoa.
And Ben's like, I can't go to the Olive Garden by myself on my birthday. That's humiliating. Which it is. And it's like his parents won't even go with him.
We don't know anything about his
He might
parents.
work nights or something.
Yeah, it sucks.
He may live alone.
I don't think he does. If he does, I feel so bad for him. But Mandy, like, she apologized again. She's like, I'm so sorry, but like, I have to do this because it's Harvard. And then she suggests inviting LaToya Reynolds since they just went to the movie together. And he's like, no. But then they see LaToya walking, and she calls her over. She goes, LaToya Reynolds, here.
They always go, LaToya Reynolds.
LaToya Reynolds.
They always shout it too.
Yeah.
It's never just LaToya Reynolds.
And she's like, Ben wants to ask you something. And Ben is like, yes, I want to ask you something. First off, I like your puffy shirt. Which it is cute. She's like, thanks. And then he's like, I'm having a birthday dinner. He says this like super bad. Like he's so awkward. But he's like, I'm having a birthday dinner. If you at the Olive Garden on Saturday, if you want to come to my birthday dinner. And she says yes. She goes, what time? And he goes, anytime.
What works with you?
Yeah. So hooray. And he doesn't mention that it's just gonna be them two.
Yeah, it makes it seem like it's a group thing.
Yeah. Cause you're like, it's my birthday dinner. But I'm sure, like, they clarify it later.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. Like, LaToya wants to go. We're good. Okay. So then it's Saturday, and they're at the supermarket. Ben is working on his birthday. Aww.
Maybe he likes working there when Kyle's not there insulting him.
There this time.
Kyle's not there. Fucking Kyle. Fucking 14-year-old. So Mandy, like, is like, and she buys him a bunch of stuff. And this is where, like, the one-use plastic water bottle thing comes in. I think you mentioned you didn't like that.
No, I don't like that she then drinks out of a one-use plastic water bottle later in the movie.
It's because she's, like, grown. She's like, there's more important things. I need to let loose a little bit.
Grown, I now think that I should use a lot of plastic.
Please, source of water.
Yeah, I think that's more as like
your only source of water
at the prom. Yeah,
I guess.
But yeah,
bring a
she right now
bottle.
she is basically like, I'm buying you this stuff, and he's like, you're not buying it for yourself. Obviously, this is single-use plastic, and she's like, yeah, I would never do that.
Yeah, it's for you.
I just think it's weird that she then uses single-use plastic later on.
Yeah, so she's like, I'm so sorry I'm missing your dinner tonight. So at least, like, she hasn't just completely blown him off. She's like, I'm gonna buy you stuff. Like, I'm really sorry I'm not going to your dinner. Like, is there anything else you want me to get you? And he's like, get me a Harvard letter so I can get my best friend back.
Oof.
Ooh. And he's like, you're right, that was too far. And she's like, no, I deserve it. But hey, like, you're going out with LaToya Reynolds. That's so exciting. And then at the supermarket, we see the Dirty Dancing promposal where he's doing the Patrick Swayze dance. And I'm like, oh my God, is he going to lift her up? But he lifts up a teddy bear, like a big teddy bear with the white dress on. And it's really cute. So that's how I want to be promposed to.
Take
with,
notes.
with the 80s theme. I want to
BenG.
do that at my wedding, but we'd have to learn the choreography, of course. We'd have to do it right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're transitioning to the next scene, and there's another Space Needle shot. Guys, this movie's in Seattle. I've just figured it out.
I did forget.
Mandy's getting ready for the fundraiser. She has this like black lacy dress that's like a little see-through, but not in like a scandalous way. It's just very lacy. It's cute. And she's like, where should I put my phone? And her purse doesn't match her dress. And so she doesn't have pockets. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to leave my phone behind. Bad choice. I'm sure her mom probably has a purse or something she could use. Apparently her jacket doesn't have pockets either.
Also, I don't think the purse looked that bad with the dress.
It was, the purse is like run down.
Yeah.
Kind of raggedy, and her dress is very fancy. Honestly, the purse would not look good.
It's better than not bringing your phone.
I
though.
know, she needs to bring her phone or just carry it. Like, I don't know.
She tried. She put it
She
in
just put
her.
it in her boob, and it didn't look good. So. Okay, so then Graham is like at the house talking with Mandy's parents, and the dad's showing him like all the One Direction stuff she has, whatever. And they show him the like risky business photo where she's a kid and she's dressed in like the risky business, like long shirt and socks and your underwear or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
When you dance, Tom
Mhm.
Cruise. That was Tom Cruise, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the dad goes, have her back by 2. And they're like, what? And he goes, 3. And then Mandy goes, he'll have me back by midnight. And they leave. And the mom's like, really? Who? And he's like, she's never been on a date before. How am I supposed to know? So, yeah, 2 a.m. is too late to bring the daughter back, probably.
Yeah, it's a little late.
Yeah.
She's 18.
She is 18, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's never been out before, so he's like, just go have fun.
Don't have to bring her back at all. Stay over.
So then they're going to the car, and Mandy's like apologizing for her parents, but Graham is like, no, I love how they're like so proud of you for everything, because his family home's broken. It sounds awful. And then she's like, have you thought about college more? And Graham's like, my dad's choice for me is UT. So you're saying it's probably Texas?
If I, from my knowledge of colleges across the country,
I'm looking it
Is
up.
there a UT in Seattle?
UT would very most likely be University of Texas Austin.
I just searched UT College and it says University of Texas at Austin.
So
But it also shows University of Tennessee as the next
Tennessee
option.
would be there too, but
And Tampa.
Tennessee is more commonly called Tennessee.
Okay.
And the University of Utah.
Texas
for
is
some
called
reason
Texas.
comes up.
But UT is more often.
Okay. Yeah. So his dad wants him to go to UT. He says it's respectable yet attainable public Ivy. Is public Ivy a thing?
There are public Ivy, like theoretical. There's a lot of colleges that tout themselves as high scale academic schools. And University of Texas is a good academic school. It is widely regarded as a good school.
Nice.
I don't know how good compared to some other colleges, but like it is considered a good school. Yeah. I don't know what public Ivy just means. It's probably a public
It's probably
school.
just good. Yeah. Like a good
Because all the
school.
Ivy League schools are private.
Okay. So let me get a short little scene at the Olive Garden. Ben's waiting around, and then Latoya shows up, and he goes, Latoya Reynolds! And she's like, oh my god, you always say my name like that. And he's like, yeah, I'm excited that you're here. And then they like go get a table. So that's also happening.
I found the list of public Ivies if you want to hear it.
Do I? But it is a thing. Like,
Yeah.
all I want to know is that it's a thing.
It is a thing, and University of Texas is on it.
Is University of Tennessee on there?
No.
So-
University of Utah?
No.
University of Tampa.
No.
I think we can safely say it's University of Texas.
It's Williams and Mary,
Oh my gosh,
California,
you're saying that.
Miami University. We already talked about it so much. You can cut this out. I don't care. You're the editor. University of Michigan.
How many of these
University
are
of
there?
North
Is it like
Carolina.
30?
There are 8.
Oh, okay.
okay.
University of Texas, University of Virginia, and University of Vermont.
Okay.
Vermont has a T in it.
I'm so glad I know this now.
You're welcome.
Okay, so they get to the fundraiser and it's very fancy.
Mm-hmm.
And Graham is like, I'm going to try and avoid conversation because it's boring. It's like this whole thing. And he takes her to slow dance. And she's like, no, I don't want to slow dance because as we know, she hates slow dancing almost as much as she hates the gender wage gap.
And you know she doesn't like the gender wage gap.
Yes.
And he's like, come on, just pretend it's 1D. Because she likes One Direction.
He learned a couple things about her.
Yeah.
Yes, he knows her.
And then they start dancing and they flirt more. And he's like, so when you look back at high school, what will be your biggest regrets? And she says, getting a 94 in PE that cost me valedictorian. Yikes.
That is a pretty big regret.
That's a pretty big regret.
I got an A- in like 6th grade PE, and I still remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It was my only A- that trimester.
It's annoying when gym gives you a bad grade. I always did good in gym, so I don't know what
Gym
everyone's
is
talking
just
about.
all about participation.
And I like sports.
Yeah. I think I complained about my team once, and then we proceeded to give up. Like baseball, we proceeded to never hit a baseball. And I complained about my team before we started. I was like, these teams are unbalanced. And then our team literally never hit a baseball the entire game.
Dang.
So I was right, but I think they gave me an A-.
Mhm.
I didn't get an A- until I was a senior because it was like AP in college's classes. So they got harder and I got an A-, but it's okay because with a weighted GPA, it was over 4.0 because it was like AP in college. Unweighted, it was a 3.9.
Have a weighted GPA.
We had both. Like
We also had
I
both.
think
Yeah.
everywhere has both if they have weighted.
Yeah. We didn't have a
But
valedictorian.
our
though.
main GPA was normal GPA,
Is normal weighted or unweighted?
not unweighted.
Okay.
That's what was official on there, but we had weighted on there as well, which was better for like me because I wasn't getting straight A's, but I
Yes.
was taking advanced class.
Yeah.
And GPA really matters because you can brag about it to people.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm like either 3.9 or if you want to go weighted over 4.0. I don't know the exacts, but it was.
I used to lord over one of my friends that I was one class rank above her. So, exactly one.
Nice.
You're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm better than
I
you.
am slightly better than you at academics.
Hey, it could be a large gap that just no one fills
No,
in.
I think it was like 0.94 and like 0.94 something.
All right. So then Graham says his biggest regret, he thought it would be like missing some important basketball shot, but now it's not getting a tutor sooner. And she's like, do lines like that usually work for you? And he's like, I don't know. I've never needed a line before. Usually people just come at me with their expectations, but with you, it's different.
Oh my god, she's not like the other girls.
And then she says, is it a good different? And he says, it's definitely good. And then they kiss.
They make out.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
fully.
making out.
It's
And-
not a peck, it's a full smooch.
And then he goes, you still thinking about that 94? And she goes, a little. You should probably kiss me one more time.
My regret's still the 94, but a little more tongue next.
Maybe a little more time. Okay. So now we're back at the Olive Garden date. Ben says, because Latoya's like, why'd you go to that party? And Ben's like, oh, I just like felt like maybe the authentic high school experience was passing me by, so I wanted to put myself out there. Which he doesn't mention the whole Harvard thing because, of course, he doesn't. But he's like, I think I'm realizing that parties aren't really for me. And Latoya's like, I don't think they're really for me either. So yeah, and then they like cheers their breadsticks.
He's taking a bite of his and she hasn't hers, so he's kind of just doing an open bite, like breadstick on her breadstick, and I don't know why that was funny to me. I feel like you want to do the side that's not been bitten into, but Ben's weird, so.
Wait, you want to hold the side that's bitten into?
Well,
that
you don't.
feels weirder for. For me, you don't hold the side that you've taken a bite out of.
He's like, oh, sorry, let me switch what side of
I feel like it
breadstick.
would have made sense if he used a breadstick that he hadn't bitten yet.
Yeah.
He's gonna eat more than one breadstick.
What?
Yeah,
He's holding
it's
two.
garden. Unlimited breadstick.
He's holding two breadsticks. One's half eaten, the other. He's like, cheers.
That would have been normal.
Like, honestly, it's not a big deal to just like lightly tap his half-eaten breadstick.
I think it was weird no matter what he did. So you just embrace it.
Okay, so we're back at the fundraiser, and Graham gets pulled into a conversation. So he's like, "Oh, save yourself. Like, I'll go talk to this guy. You go somewhere else." And then she like runs into his dad, like spills a drink, but he's like, "Don't worry about it. I saw you with my son earlier. You're his tutor, right?" And she's like, "Yep." And he's like, "Oh, well, tutoring him must not be easy, huh?
He's dumb.
I hate my son."
While we're talking about the dad, I want to ask this question. I asked it when we were watching as well. What political party do we think the dad is?
Republican, because he's a fucking asshole.
He's Democrat because it's Washington.
I think it's more Democrat.
I don't know if Washington D.C. I think
it's Washington.
I don't know
State.
Washington's. I don't know Washington State's politics.
Washington State is a primarily Democratic voting state. However, it is close enough where it would not be infeasible to have a Republican senator, but it would be an upset for that Republican senator to win.
I think he's a Republican. And
he is a white man who's old.
Yep.
That is all
politicians.
He's a bad father, which clearly means he's a Republican. It's impossible to be a bad father when you're a Democrat.
He's pro-education and anti-basketball. So
that's a good sign on the Democratic side.
Anti-basketball. Actually, basketball is kind of
political.
Yeah, I would say basketball is one of the more liberal sports.
You know,
you were ranking the sports,
but sports in general is
High School Musical.
Yes, that's definitely.
There's more political outspokenness within the NBA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he also played basketball.
How do you know this? How do you know he played basketball?
They mentioned it at one point that he played on the Harvard team.
Really?
They did?
Yeah, during the moment where he's saying I'm a legacy, like basketball, it's like my dad played on the team.
Oh,
really?
I thought he just went to the school.
I know you rewatched it, but I remember hearing that.
I don't remember hearing.
But he's also anti rewarding people for winning homecoming, which I don't know what political party that is because I don't think anybody's like, oh, homecoming king matters now.
And they're very clear on not showing us what it is. My lean is still Democrat, but I could be either.
I think it's Republican.
I think he's Green Party.
You think we got a Green Party in the U.S. Senate?
Definitely. This is an alternate universe.
That's true. They did move the Space Needle to Seattle in this one.
Do we know it's Seattle? If it's an alternate universe.
We do know Seattle because the high school is Seattle High.
What's Seattle named after? I bet it's named after a person. Mr. Seattle.
You know what? I'm guessing it's not named after a person genuinely. It's probably named after being by the sea.
See Seattle.
Do you want any predictions? I'm gonna Google why is Seattle named Seattle.
Why is this important? We're almost at 2 hours.
Yeah.
Want to Google why Seattle's named Seattle?
2 times speeds. This is more like 1 hour.
Oh, it is actually named after a person.
Thank you.
The Duwamish Indian leader named Seals.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, let's get back to the movie now.
This movie wants us to know it's in Seattle.
It's important to know all the facts about Seattle.
So, okay. He's like, oh, I hate my son. So you're applying to Harvard?
That's really what happens.
He's like, you're applying to Harvard? That's cool. If there's anything I can do, like as a thank you for tutoring Graham, just let me know. But, I'm not sure Harvard's a good enough payment for putting up with him. Haha, that boy. And then she goes, that boy is incredible and you should be proud of him. He's funny and kind and he makes everyone feel like they're important. And she's like, you know what? I appreciate the offer, but no thanks. She says no to the Harvard letter because she cares about Graham and his dad's an asshole. Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
So then Mandy's feeling very proud of herself. She's like, I'm choosing Graham. I'm choosing people instead of Harvard. But then she starts overhearing some guys talk. And at first, on the first watch through, I thought these were just some other like rich motherfuckers, right? That maybe are friends with Graham. I realized on the second watch through, they're his brothers.
Oh.
And it makes way more sense in the whole movie if you think
Yeah,
about it that
because
way.
we're like, why is Mandy listening to these guys and like taking it to heart that maybe Graham doesn't like her? But the fact that it's coming from his brothers, I get it more.
I thought it was more the fact that there's the misunderstanding about cheating.
Well, there's also that, but before she hears about the cheating, she's like listening to them talk about like, oh, who is this girl? Obviously, he's only bringing her to impress dad. So, and she's like taking that to
okay.
heart, and
I
we're
feel like anyone saying I don't like you, it would make you feel kind of bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like obviously she should know that that's not how Graham feels right now. But then they're like, who was that other girl he had at the house earlier today? And so that makes sense of like, oh shit, he had another girl at the house that day.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously he's cheating.
Men and women can't be friends.
I would like to point out we later learn that this is him getting someone for helping with the dance.
Yeah.
But this does not make sense. He only learns about the risky business that night.
You're so right.
Wait.
And the One Direction that night.
Yep.
Maybe he totally changed it.
Wow.
Next.
Maybe he's lying about it.
Maybe he cheated.
Well, he was okay. I guess we can just assume that he was planning a different promposal with dancing, and then he changes it up.
Maybe he was doing something private with Liv that wasn't cheating, but also he lied about it.
No, it was definitely they mentioned she was.
Yeah, but that could have been a lie.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay, fine. If you say it's not a lie, then I guess.
We've been recording for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Kelsey wants her Olive Garden.
So then Mandy leaves crying. She runs to the mom, but the mom's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I have to leave," and then she leaves and she's crying. So back at the Olive Garden, Ben and Latoya are talking about the MCU, and they're like, "Oh, Captain America and Iron Man," and he's like, "Wow, I didn't think you'd be into the MCU," and she's like, "Yeah, but Michael B. Jordan." Which he was in Black Panther.
Latoya has 2 characteristics, and it's Michael B. Jordan and that she has a last name.
She watched all of the MCU specifically so that she could watch Black Panther, which would be a standalone movie.
Slay.
And also she could have just watched Black Panther 2 as a standalone movie, and Michael B. Jordan's in like one scene in that. So like honestly though, respect. Watch all of it just so you can watch Black Panther with like some more content. It's a very much a standalone movie.
I mean, she may have just watched Black Panther, liked it, and wanted to watch the rest.
It's fair, but Michael B. Jordan isn't.
That's what you did with Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, but that was different. I also had seen Guardians, and I knew they were going to be in Infinity War. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to watch Infinity War to see Guardians of the Galaxy, I should know what else is happening. So I watched all of them. Yeah. Anyway, the waiters come and they have like a cake with a candle and they're like are singing to him, and Ben gets an unknown caller and he does hang up at first. He's like, oh, spam call, but then it calls back immediately.
Which I'm like still slightly skeptical. I think I would wait for a third time.
Yeah, you think so? Well,
but I get it.
Yeah.
I barely answer my phone when there is a caller.
Right? And it's like, it's his birthday. I don't know.
He's at dinner
and they're singing happy birthday to him, but then he answers it and it's Mandy. She's like crying. She's like, the only number I know is yours, which why doesn't she know her parents' number?
Yeah, that's weird.
I only know my parents' number and my sister's
number, but I only know my number and my like I guess like my parents' home number.
What she should have done is given her phone to her parents and she could just call herself.
Yeah.
But
she has to know her own
That's
number.
a deleted scene.
But she also didn't think anything was going to go wrong. So
Mandy, for being a smart person, isn't necessarily the smartest.
Yeah,
in this movie.
don't leave your phone behind. That's the dumbest thing she does the whole movie, obviously. Okay.
It makes the top 5.
So then she's crying and she realizes that he's still at dinner and she's like, oh my gosh, never mind, ignore me, I'm sorry, it's fine. So the waiters are still there and Ben's like, I gotta go, and Latoya's like, what? And the waiters are still waiting there and he's like, can I help you? And they're like, we can't leave until you blow out the candle, probably because it's a fire hazard. If they don't know what he's gonna do with the candle. So he blows it out and they take a picture of him when he blows it out. And then they leave, and he's like, I have to leave right now. I'm so sorry. It's an emergency. I'll call you later. And he doesn't explain anything more to Latoya. And he leaves her there to pay the bill.
You need some more explanation for that.
I know. know.
I feel like it's weird Latoya's mad because she could hear some of the phone call.
No, she couldn't. She goes, "What's going on?"
She got left with the bill.
That is annoying.
She got left with the bill so that he could go see his best friend.
Yes.
Instead of her.
But
Which
if he
we
was
should
like,
mention.
Mandy is crying from an unknown phone booth.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Yeah, and that's all. If he mentioned that,
Yeah.
Like she's stranded by herself without her phone. I need to go get her.
I just thought she could hear the call because we could hear the call while it was in his hand and we were.
I think that's just a filming
It's a
perspective.
film thing. Of course, we could hear the.
No, but we could hear the call when it zoomed away and we could
That's
hear
a
it
film.
muffled.
That's a film thing.
As though we were not hearing the call.
Yeah. No.
Plus, you don't want to assume that someone heard something
Yeah.
and not mention it.
Yes.
It still sucks that she got left there.
It does.
Okay, so then Ben picks Mandy up at the fundraiser and she's crying and she's like, "I'm such an idiot for thinking that Graham liked me." And he's like, "You're not stupid." She's like, "I am stupid. You know why? Because the dad offered the letter and I said no. I chose Graham and he chose Liv from the dance studio. So this is how we know that she's a dancer." And she's like, "The worst part is that I've been a terrible friend to you," which is true. She has been a terrible friend to Ben. And she's like, "I'm going to make it up to you at prom, like limos, whatever you want to do, I'll do it, assuming you still will go with me." And he says, "Of course I'll go with you. You're my best friend. And we made a prom pact and I'm not going to break it." And then she apologizes again for ruining his date, but he's like, "It's okay. Latoya totally understood."
She didn't.
She didn't, but he's trying to make her feel better. Okay, so then at school, Graham tries to talk to Mandy. He's like, "Hey, where'd you go?" But she's like, "Did you have fun with Liv?" And he's like, "What? You weren't supposed to know about that."
Thinking about promposal, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yep. And then Mandy storms off, and Ben says, "Dude, take the hint." And then Latoya walks by, and he's like, "Latoya," but she's ignoring him, and he goes, "Take the hint, no nuts."
He doesn't go Latoya. He goes Latoya Reynolds.
Yeah, sorry. He goes, "Latoya Reynolds," and she walks by him, and then he goes, "Take the hint, no nuts." So.
Because of his nut allergy.
Because of his nut allergy. I thought he was calling him a virgin, but
that was only Kyle.
He goes, "Haha, you have an allergy you can't control." Haha. Okay, so then in class, Mandy gets a note to go to the front office, and later they're like, "We didn't send you a note, so it's a plan, right?" Ben tries to apologize to Latoya, and he goes, like, "I'm so sorry. How much do I owe you for dinner?" And she goes, "I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you. I'm not here to be second choice to Mandy or anyone else." Which power move, not letting him pay. Like,
it is a power move.
Like, I don't even want your money. I just want nothing to do with
when
you.
He absolutely needs to pay the money.
Yeah. But she's like, "I don't even need your money." Like, damn. And he's like, "Please just hear me out. I'll explain everything." And she's like, "Fine, you have until you get to my car." And he explains that, like, she's his best friend and she was alone, stranded. So, like, I had to leave. But, like, before that, with you, I was having the best birthday ever. And I wish I could undo it. And he's like, "Please just let me make it up to you. Let me take you somewhere nicer than the Olive Garden. How about the macaroni grill?" And she laughs. And she's like, "That sounds good. But actually, how about instead we go to prom?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Will you go to prom with me?" And we don't get to see his reply. We'll find out in a minute. So Mandy's in the hall and all the lights go down and everybody's filming her and they like form a big circle and they push her to the middle and she's like, "Oh no." But then Graham shows up doing the risky business dance.
In the risky business outfit.
Yep. And then the song changes, so that's what makes it beautiful because she loves 1D. And everyone like kind of circles around her because Graham's doing a costume change.
It's a quick change, it's really slow.
Yep. And then he like changed the lyrics to the song to be like, "Mandy, you tutor me and you're so hot and will you go to prom with me?"
Oh.
And then we don't see her answer, but everyone is shouting, "Say yes, say yes, say yes."
She's looking like she's having a good time.
Yeah,
when she was just crying about him, like a couple minutes ago.
But also, I think she learns that Liv was part of organizing this at this point too.
So she's probably putting it together. And then so Mandy goes out to talk to Ben, and she's like, "Oh my God, Graham just asked me to prom." And he's like, "Latoya just asked me to prom." And she's like, "That's great." And he's like, "No, I had to tell her no because we're going together. So how did Graham take it when you told him?" And he's like, "You didn't tell him you said yes? Like, he's like, you were
I would like to point out Ben's covering his eyes.
I'm not. It's just.
It's a cringe moment. It's okay.
This is the big fight of the movie.
I feel like this is a less cringy scene than some of his earlier scenes with LaToya.
Yeah. But he's like, literally 2 nights ago, you were crying in my car about how he's seen other girls. And she's like, yeah, but like, that was just a misunderstanding. Liv was just helping him with the promposal.
With the evidence I brought up, I'm casting doubt on that still.
I think he was obviously planning a promposal.
Yeah.
So I think they just changed.
I think he just stalked her like Instagram or something and saw that she liked One Direction and Risky Business prior to the meeting.
That's
and then he
probably
was like,
true.
oh, I didn't know that. Good to learn this information.
And she's like, just tell LaToya that you can go to prom with her now. And Ben's like, oh yeah, tell her that now you have a date, so I'm free. Yeah, that'll go over well.
There's
It
a point.
won't.
I think LaToya, and it's a very reasonable suspicion, believes that Ben has a crush on Mandy.
Well, she said too, she's like, I'm not here to be second choice to you.
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
literally would make her second choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would not go over well. And then he starts yelling very publicly and people start recording. And he's like, we had a prom pact. Like, do you even like Graham? Or are you just using him to get into Harvard? Like this whole time. And then he goes, you know what? I don't care. I'm done.
It's okay. Graham didn't hear it.
Right, but then the next scene is Graham in the gym, and he's like, "Come here, Mandy, I want to show you a video." And then he shows the video of them fighting, and him saying, "Like you're."
There's
just
not a
using Graham."
single moment of he's not gonna see it. Like, oh,
No, he's definitely gonna see it.
12 people filming it.
Yeah. And then literally the next scene, Graham shows her that he saw the video,
Yeah.
so they're done. He's like,
it's just funny because I feel like he could have come and seen the fight.
yeah. And then he shows her that he has a Harvard letter of rec, from his dad. And he's like, he had his dad write it for her. He's like, you played me perfectly. Like, I really thought there was no catch. I made my dad write this letter for you. And then he hands it to her. And he's like, I guess I am a Neanderthal.
So do you think he had the dad write it the night before?
No.
I think he had him write it after the fundraiser.
I thought he had him write it after he saw the video.
That's what I
That's
also
what I thought they were
interpreted.
implying.
No.
That he did it after he...
Like, it was a moment of good gesture,
No,
like,
guys,
you win.
I literally just rewatched it. He said, I had my dad write this for you because I want to do something nice for you. I thought there was no catch because you played me.
He still handed her the letter, so regardless, the act of goodwill is still there.
Mhm.
He could have.
Well, it's not out of goodwill. It's like a fuck you. Here's what you wanted. You can be done with it now.
Letter.
Well, it's like
Yeah,
the
but-
clean break aspect of it is what I'm saying. Like, handing over the letter is still you got what you wanted.
Yeah,
It can be
But it's still a slap in the face.
It's gonna be a slap in the face, but it can also be I'm still giving it to you.
Yeah. Okay, so then Mandy is sad, and we have Charles and Zenobia talking to Mandy, and they're like, we're not taking sides. I mean, we did invite Ben to eat with us because he shouldn't be alone since he didn't do anything wrong, but we're not taking sides.
Yeah.
The movie is like very clearly Ben is in the right and
I
Mandy's in
mean,
the
he
wrong.
is.
Yeah.
Ben is basically, I'm sorry for what I said, but also I meant it, and we have to take that at face value.
Yeah. So Mandy's talking with Miss Chen, and Miss Chen's like, you know, when I said you needed an in with the senator, I didn't mean in his son's pants.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
We get a little scene of Kyle like bullying her. Fuck Kyle. This is the other scene Kyle's
Wait, Kyle's
in.
in this scene?
Yep.
Yeah, he's like, hey Mandy, my dad could get you a letter rec, blah blah blah. He's such a fucking asshole.
Kyle.
He's fucking 14. Anyway, Mandy's talking to Miss Chen, and he's like, she admits, you know, I used tutoring to get close to Graham, but then my feelings changed, and now it's all ruined. My friendship's ruined with Ben, and his relationship with LaToya is ruined, but I do have this Harvard letter. And Miss Chen's like, are you going to send it in? And she's like, I have to. It's Harvard, right? Nothing's better than Harvard. And
Right.
Miss Chen's like, you know, I think something may be more important to you now.
You haven't sent it in yet, so obviously it's not the only important thing.
So then Mandy tries to go talk to Graham, but his friend stops her, and she's like, can you just give this to him and tell him I'm sorry? So she gives the letter back, the letter of recommendation from his dad, basically saying like, I don't need it, I don't want it. Like, it's not worth it. So she gives it back. Okay, so then Mandy is all dressed up in 80s stuff, like an 80s dress and her hair and makeup. And her parents are really excited that she's going to prom because she's like, I'm going to prom. And they're like, with who? And she's like, maybe nobody. We'll see. So then she shows up at Ben's place and she's like throwing shit at his window. And he comes out on the balcony and he's like, go home. And she's like, no, hear me out. I messed up. But wherever our future takes us, I need to know that you're my best friend. And more importantly, that you're my best friend. So she's saying, like, I'm going to be here for you now. I know I fucked up, but I'm here.
She's done this whole movie a lot of fucking up.
Oh, yeah. Then she starts playing safety dance. And she goes like, Ben, 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 plunk it, plunk it, plunk it, plunk it. Like, you know, in safety dance, they go, S, 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 A, 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 F, F. But then she goes, P, 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 R, 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 O, 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 M, 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 with me. And she's dancing, and it's embarrassing, and people are looking at her. And he's like, how long is this going to go on for? And she's like, well, it's a pretty long playlist. I have I'd Stop the World and Prom with You, Total Eclipse on the Prom, My Peromative.
I feel like they could have got, there's so many fun things they could have done.
And he's like, if I say yes, will this stop? And she's like, I guess I'll have to find out. And then she like dances more, and it's embarrassing. And then he says yes. And she's like, yay, okay, go get changed. And he's like, why? Prom's on for another 4 hours. And she's like, well, we have to make some stops first.
And we all thought, oh no, she's going to go on a whole redemption tour, but like have to bring him along. That's so rude, but it's not that.
It's not that.
I thought she'd be trying to make it up with Graham and LaToya.
Yeah, but that's not what happens. She takes them out on their usual Friday night date since they missed a few probably. They go see books and then a movie, and then they go to the diner, and the diner has like milkshakes and candles because she like set it up special for them.
And waffles.
How did she get this all set up so quick?
She probably just called the people, like, they're regulars.
Did she stop, or did she just say that it was a fancy restaurant?
Well,
it was that line where she's like, it's a fancy restaurant.
Yeah, that was a joke.
I thought it was just set up like that because it's an 80s town and they know it's prom night. So they gotta set it up as like an 80s themed prom diner.
No, because they show up and he's like, whoa, and she's like, yep, like that's the only table that's like that. She goes, oh, yep, it's pretty fancy here. Like it was clear that she set it up.
I didn't get that.
Yeah. Okay, so now they go to prom, and Love is a Battlefield is playing, so that's fun.
Battlefield.
Oh, and then it changes to Let's Dance, put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Very 80s songs. I was surprised 80s songs are actually being played at the prom. Because, like, yes, there's a theme, but I feel like the teenagers wouldn't actually want to dance to 80s music.
But they have been going into it for the whole thing.
Yeah, I was.
But then they're all.
This is a movie, and they're.
Yeah. It would happen in a movie.
But they do lampshade it a bit because they have the kids go like, why are you guys dressed up in 80s clothes?
So they're
why is that the one thing they don't care about?
Yeah, they've been doing 80s promposals the whole time. The whole gymnasium is 80s. They're playing 80s music. But Ben and Mandy are the only ones dressed up like 80s. And Charles and Zenobia are like, yeah, nobody's actually going to do that because there's like pictures and
all
stuff.
The promposals were being videotaped.
Yeah. They're like, we'll do the promposal like 80s themes. We're not going to dress like 80s. That'd be weird.
Yeah, even though they all have 80s costumes that they wore for their promposals. Yeah. Very elaborate ones.
Anyway, people are like making fun of them because they look dumb, I guess, but whatever. Moni Moni starts playing, so more 80s songs. Mandy sees Graham and is kind of sad, but like toughens up. She's like, let's go dance, Ben. And we don't actually get to see them dance right now, which is kind of weird, but we'll see them dance later. They get their drink. This is when she grabs the water, so I know that makes you mad.
Why is she grabbing water from a single-use plastic bottle?
I think it's just an idea of they're spent all the money on the plastic already, so it doesn't matter who uses it, it's getting used.
Also, Mandy, I think, might be a little bit of a hypocrite at points.
Yeah.
Or
what?
Maybe she's not the most like genuine about her being a nice person.
Yeah. I think she may be a complex character.
I think she might be virtue signaling a little bit.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
All right, so then the principal gets on stage and he's like, it's time to announce prom king and queen. And LaToya Reynolds wins queen. Of course she does. And then Mandy's like, I'm dumping you as a date. And Ben's like, what?
That's a
And
mean move.
yeah, and then Ben wins prom king because Mandy rigged the votes.
No, it was.
Oh yeah, it's definitely because everybody knows who he is, except the whole crowd goes silent and goes, who? No nuts.
I don't know anyone named Ben.
Do you think Latoya actually won? Or was Latoya also rigged?
Latoya won.
Latoya was expected to win. It would be really funny though if they only rigged Ben and then someone else won. It was like,
Like,
it was
fuck.
Mandy.
Ma-
Because they were
Mandy-
like, you want to see Graham and Mandy back together? That would be funny.
Oh shit! Yeah, it's like a prank, and so it's just Mandy and Ben. She's like, I didn't think Latoya was gonna lose. Shit.
That's scary.
Yeah, my bold prediction was like the movie Carrie. Someone was gonna get like blood dumped on them at prom, but that didn't happen.
So when you said that, we all thought you meant carried as in like lifted up.
But yeah,
Like
that's bold prediction. I'd explain like no, like the movie getting carried. Anyway, as Ben's walking up on stage, they start chanting "No nuts, no nuts." You
It's in
know,
a positive way, maybe.
reclaiming allergies to nuts.
And then he gets his crown and like people cheer and whatever. And then they start to dance awkwardly and Latoya's like, let's just get through this. And then they start dancing, but then Ben goes, no, I'm not gonna do that because my whole life I've just been going through it or something. He's like, I'm not gonna let life pass me by anymore. I am no nuts Plunkett. He says this to everyone, and one girl in the crowd goes, oh my god, what's going on? And then he's like, I'm prom king, and I'm dancing with the girl of my dreams, and I want to kiss her now. And then she smiles and goes, you should have just kissed me. And then they kiss.
I will point out, we all think she looked pretty like
She looked
Latoya.
very uncomfortable prior
Yeah,
to this speech.
We all disagree when she says, you
should
should have kissed
It
me.
didn't from our angle, which maybe
Yes.
that's us misreading a situation. Obviously, we're not
Yeah,
actual
Yeah.
characters in this movie.
people misread situations.
No, okay, because she goes, let's just get through this. She's still mad at him. Imagine if he just tried to kiss her. She'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
That's where I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be cute.
Yeah.
You should have just kissed me, but I appreciate the consent. But it does not come off that way.
It's weird because like it's supposed to be cute of like, yes, I also want to kiss you, but what are you supposed to say there? Like, yes, I also want to kiss you.
If where
That-
they
I think
acknowledge consent, it's weird for the character at the end to be like,
What she should have said is, well, then go on and do it.
Yes.
then.
You know what she should have said?
What?
Nothing, just kissed him.
Yeah, that would have been
She
good.
consented,
yes.
but you just do it.
Or she says yes.
And you get your non-verbal
Yes.
consent that you
Either
wanted.
one.
Yeah.
It just was not a situation where she should have said, actually, you should have just kissed me.
Yeah.
And we cheer. Woo! Everyone in the audience goes, yay.
Yeah, so people cheer them on and they're dancing. They stay on stage for a while, which is kind of weird, but like, okay.
They're
They do
prom
that.
king and queen.
Yeah, so what, they stay on stage the whole time? I didn't have this at my prom.
I didn't
so.
go to prom.
I also
because
didn't go to
I
prom.
was gonna go with one of my friends, and then I got pink eye the
Oh,
day
shit.
of, and it was like the really infectious kind. So I
Yeah.
was like, yes, I don't have to go to prom. Neither of us really wanted to go.
I went with my friends, and it's funny because our theme was actually like Moroccan, like a Moroccan night, which before
That's a weird theme.
it is weird. Before the prom, we all were in the gym to like take pictures, and you know how you do the walk, like the couples walk.
Yep.
Yeah, so we did that. And we're all in the gym taking pictures, but then we went to a different venue for the actual dance, which wasn't like decorated like Moroccan. It was just like a wedding venue.
Did anyone wear Moroccan clothes?
Oh. So I feel like the theme really had like no point.
Stop with the theme.
Student council.
That is who normally comes
Weird
up with
student
themes.
council. I think so. I was just gonna judge the student council.
Oh.
When I was on student count, like Senate, we talked dance themes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's like
No,
the
I
one
totally
thing you
know
do.
that's a thing. I just think Morocco's a weird theme for a
I don't
high
know.
school dance.
I kind of agree. It's kind of weird.
I mean, it didn't really hold any weight.
No.
So, yeah. Okay, so then Mandy's talking with Miss Chen, and she thanks her for helping rig the votes. So that's how she did it. She had Miss Chen do it. Graham is still icing her out, but she goes, it's okay. Tonight was not about him. Which, good. Tonight was about Ben and making up making it all up to him. So Mandy then is talking to Ben and LaToya, and she's like, cool, I gotta go, I'm gonna leave. And Ben and LaToya are like, no, you should stay. And then she admits that she hasn't checked her Harvard application lately, and they're like, you have to check it right now. So she looks, and she's been accepted to Harvard. Hooray!
Toya's really invested in this when I feel like she should honestly have like some resentment towards Mandy.
Well, now
but
it's
she's
like
too cool.
that's her man's best friend. Like,
Yeah.
it's gotta be nice.
Figures Mandy rigged the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ben and Mandy start like screaming and tapping their hands together like they always do. And LaToya goes, you two are a lot, but I'm here for it.
Wait, who's LaToya?
LaToya Reynolds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
And I'm sorry.
There's so many LaToyas.
I should have clarified. It's LaToya Reynolds.
There are no other LaToyas in this movie that we know.
And then Mandy goes to Miss Chen. She's like, I got in. And Miss Chen's like, yeah, it's crazy. And she's like, I don't know how though. I never sent in a letter of rec, I promise. And Miss Chen's like, yeah, I sent in a letter for you. You know,
Dummy.
a very boring, unsexy teacher letter that you hated so much, but guess it worked, huh?
Yeah.
And so yeah, then we see all the kids dance. Woo, dancing. They're dancing to, ooh, I want to dance with somebody.
And they do want to dance.
With somebody.
With somebody. All right, cool. So now that we're at graduation and Mandy's giving a speech because she's the salutatorian. Is that how you say it?
I believe Saladatorian or something like that.
I didn't even
It's
know
the
this thing.
valedictorian, but for being a salad.
It's second place valedictorian.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Well, we didn't have valedictorian, I think.
I didn't have it. So, like, how was I supposed to know that?
On our report card, it said our class rank.
Really?
If you checked your like, not your report card, but like your academic history or something.
Well,
you could see that.
Regardless, this is an actual thing, but most schools don't really do the valedictorian system.
School has changed a lot
Yeah.
in these decades, and some things in teen movies that are tropes in teen movies are not really accurate to a lot of people's high school experiences.
A lot.
Yeah. I just didn't even know there was like a second place and a name for it. So that's fun.
Do we want to look up the etymology?
No, God. Let's please just finish it. So she says she was going to give a boring speech, but then she changes it up and she's like, I'm going to give you some advice that I got from someone very important to me. Beef.
I would like to point out this entire speech, they awkwardly cut back to Graham and you think she's going to call out like a big romantic gesture towards him, but it never happens. But it always feels like it's about to happen.
There's a point where she says his name, and you're like, "Oh no, this is the big romantic gesture that's incredibly awkward."
Yeah, but then
it never happens,
which is good.
Yeah,
like
and a lot of pressure for someone who's who's angry at you.
Yeah. So she goes, beef. It also applies to life. She's like, it's for basketball with like a layup, and they go, no. And she's like, a free throw? And they're like, yeah.
I think it's mostly just for throwing a shot. It's not really for free throws specifically. Yeah. I have heard beef before.
Beef. So balance. She's like, you need balance in your life, which I didn't have enough of. Don't let your goals be your whole life. You need to have fun and fill a car with hot Cheetos.
And that's the theme of the movie.
Filling a car with hot Cheetos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her mom goes, yes.
Is the hot Cheetos? I feel like that has to be an innuendo.
No, her mom said that she did it in high school.
Filled it like entirely full.
Maybe.
Like, I just imagined her putting like a few bags of hot Cheetos.
Like,
not even dump them out.
No, I think she dumped out, but like 3 bags, 4 bags.
Yeah, I doubt she like spent a ton of money getting like 100 bags of hot Cheetos.
Maybe she did. Maybe that's why it's so memorable.
Maybe. And then she says, eyes, you need to keep them open. You never know who you're going to meet. Elbow, keep them safe. They're important.
Yeah, you don't really have much you can do about elbow.
We thought she was going to say something like elbow grease, like work hard though, even though that kind of goes against the balance. Anyway, follow through.
Make sure you gotta elbow people out of your way if you want to succeed.
Ambition. And then she says, follow through. Make sure to finish your shots. And then she goes, Graham Lansing. And you think it's going to be like, I love you, but it's not. She goes, thank you for making my last semester of high school different. A good different. And then she says, oh yeah, and go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs.
And then they give her a standing ovation.
It's probably not worthy of a standing ovation, but whatever.
At least her speech was more interesting than all the generic shit that usually happens, so.
There's like, there's some drama in this.
Also, this is unrelated to what we're talking about, but I looked up when Hot Cheetos came into existence, and they came into existence in 1991, which is not the 80s. And how
So?
old is her mom?
Her mom was in high school in 91, maybe probably a senior in 91.
18.
So then she
It could be a
had
brand
her
new
30.
product.
Okay, and this takes place in 2023. I'm just like,
Yeah,
it's
so
weird
she-
that it's
possible.
not an
Yeah,
80s
so
But
thing.
it's weird that's not an 80s
So
thing.
she was
You'd think
born
it would
in
be.
the 2000s. So no, that totally
Wait,
adds up.
that's 9. That's only 32 years.
Yeah.
And Mandy's 18, so she had Mandy when she was 14.
No, she graduated high school in 91 when Cheetos came out.
Oh. Yeah,
It-
she did.
it works
she
out.
did things in her car when she was 0. Never mind.
Yeah, she was born the same year Hot Cheetos were
That's a
invented.
plot hole, but apparently I'm just dumb.
No, the timeline actually makes complete sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so then after the ceremony, Mandy is like leaving for Boston right now, and I was like, "What the hell? What do you mean she's leaving right now? That makes no sense." But they actually do mention that Professor Downs has invited her to sit in on some summer lectures on global poverty, so it does make sense.
Mhm.
Cool. Here I am trying to be like, plot hole. Why is she leaving
Yeah.
literally the day of graduation? But they explain it.
I mean, your plot hole.
They still hand waved it.
Yeah.
You know.
And then Ben says, like, I'll miss you. And she's like, I'll miss you. And they hug. But Mandy says, I'll be back before Labor Day. So squeeze me in your busy schedule with your girlfriend. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, you're dating LaToya Reynolds. That's crazy.
Wow.
And LaToya shows up and she's like, you guys need to stop saying my full name.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
has
they
been
never do.
weird the
I don't-
whole time.
Ever heard of her as LaToya?
LaToya Reynolds. They never just say LaToya.
I think one time Mandy just says LaToya, but not in front of LaToya.
They're setting up for the sequel. There needs to be character growth.
Yeah. So then they say goodbye. And then Mandy runs into Graham and they congratulate each other, for graduating. And he says, that was a nice speech. I will protect my elbows. Haha. And then she's like, where are you going to college? And he's like, I decided to go to UT. And she's like, oh, your dad's choice. Like, not that that's the bad thing, but he's like, yeah, no, I understand what you mean. And then they say goodbye and they're like really civil about it. And they don't get together or anything, right? They just say goodbye, and Mandy leaves with her parents, and The Promise starts playing, which is the one that goes do 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 do.
When you were singing that earlier, I thought you were doing the Wii Sports theme.
It is kind of like the Wii Sports theme. Okay, so then it cuts and it says Cambridge, Massachusetts.
That's where Harvard is.
That's where Harvard is. And Mandy is with some friends in some kind of like maybe a brewery, maybe just some kind of pub. I don't know.
It looks like a brewery.
It
does.
looks like a brewery or pub.
Yeah. Mandy is there making Save the Bees signs, and she goes to refill her drink.
We are still confused about the timing of this, but it's probably like a couple months later.
Know?
I think they never say, but I'm assuming it's that fall.
Okay.
I was assuming it was like 3 years because it was a brewery.
He only
initially.
says he took a gap year.
Yeah, he's saying I took a gap year, so we're assuming that this is the gap year. It's that fall. You can go to a brewery and not get alcohol. I think she's drinking root beer.
Maybe she's doing non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah, like I don't think they never.
It's really a thing you can do. I just assumed that was what they were trying to say.
They never
it had been a few years.
They never say they're drinking alcohol or anything. Like I think it's fine.
Then later on, it seems like it hasn't been a few years.
Yeah. So then, she sees that Graham is there, and she's like, "You're wearing a Save the Bees shirt." And he's like, "That's what you want to talk about?" And she's like, "No. What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Well, I was gonna go to UT." But then I decided to take your advice and do my own thing. Like, I don't have to do anything for my dad, whatever. He's like, I decided to take a gap year. And she's like, yeah, he's like, I'm just going to figure out what I want to do. And she's like, what you want is here in Boston? And there's like a pause. He's like, yeah. And like, you think maybe he's going to say because she's there. But then he goes, I'm working at a nonprofit coaching kids in basketball. And she's like, oh, yep, that's a good fit. And then he starts to say, there is one other thing. And then she kisses him.
Yes, she interrupts his thing.
And then they stop and then he kisses her back. So it's like, yep. And then The Promise kicks in again.
And there's a sign that they pan up that says the end.
But then it goes ...
A sequel bait, and I feel like this is very much not a really sequel and more a movie.
Sequel this. It's not going to be about prom anymore.
I mean...
They're kids.
Their kids go
In
to
the
prom?
future,
Oh,
with the
Charles and
2010s.
Zenobia. They're I think not
Yeah,
seniors.
because they were not graduating.
Yeah.
Yes.
During the speech, they're like, "What's going on?" And Charles goes, "I don't know, but I'm gonna
Yes.
film it."
They can go to prom so that there can be a prom pact in the movie.
That's a good call out.
Yes.
It could be
Nice.
Charles.
They
and
become
Zenobia.
main characters.
They don't have to be the main characters. They just have to go to a prom and have a prom pact, and then they can focus on the other people that aren't in the prom pact.
Yeah.
I do want to point out that it's very creepy that she is at a Save the Bees like sign making function.
Yeah.
And then he shows up at her location with a Save the Bees t-shirt.
He knew that she would be at a Save the Bees protest, like, and he
Yes.
went to find her.
That is very weird though.
He loves her,
Okay.
and she was very excited to see him.
Yes, I just feel like it was a
You can't call him crazy. He's just a boy in love.
He can't be held responsible for his actions.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an ingenue.
All right, that's Prom Pact. What did everyone think?
I like the movie.
I like it.
I liked it.
I
It's
liked
good.
It was way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be dumb.
It's not like a crazy plot when you like lay it out.
No, but it's very tight knit. Like,
yes.
I like that they didn't do the whole, like, Ben was in love with her the whole time, because that's been done so many times.
Mhm.
As Ben mentioned before we watched, it's the director was like, we have two straight characters who like just aren't into each other.
Yes.
And it's really that, that's
Yeah,
true.
they never even try to hint at all.
Oh,
They do, because when we were watching, they thought they were going to get together.
No, I said they might, because that's just such, not because of anything that happened in the movie, but because that plot has been done so many times.
It's true. I think it was because we're primed to think that's
that I'm like,
that's
oh,
the only plot that can exist in movies.
Well, DCOMs especially have done it so many times. I'm glad they didn't.
Yes. I feel like the jokes also worked really well.
Yeah.
The guidance counselor was very mean, but she was very funny
But she
too.
was funny, yeah.
it's a well written movie.
Yeah.
It has a few things where it's like not necessarily perfectly written, but
Yeah.
it does a lot of things right, and that's what you need.
I mean, the plot hole about the dance promposal, learning about dirty dancing and such, that ruins the movie for me. That's a deal breaker. I didn't realize they didn't think about that.
So we did kind of talk about where we'd rank it, and we put it at 22. So, like, very high.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's 115 now?
Yeah.
Put it right above the zombie series.
Yes.
Yeah, which I like zombies, but that's me.
As a consensus one. Do you have your personal rankings? Did you put it
I did not put
I
it
did
in.
not. It would be probably an A tier for me.
I also agree it's an A tier movie and like right around the middle of A tier.
Yeah. me
Like it's
too.
good.
Yeah, I like it. I do.
Nice.
Cool. So that's Prom Pact.
Ben, any final thoughts? Enjoy being on the podcast for the first time?
It was very stressful.
Well, I hope you come back.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe people can write an angry fan mail about not
Hey, but
wanting me
then-
on the podcast or wanting me on the podcast.
That's called engagement.
Yes.
So even if you will take death threats.
No, if you don't want me on the podcast, put in some fan mail, and that might impact things. If you want me on the podcast, put in some fan mail that might impact things. They really want engagement.
Ben, do
We
you
might
want to
not
read
listen
off
to you,
our
but-
social media accounts?
Oh,
Let's see if you can do it.
The THE DCOM Duo on Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube too. There's no video, so you can listen to them there.
Minisode has some video.
Oh, it does? Okay. They've got a TikTok, which I assume is THE DCOM Duo.
Yep.
There's underscores in that one.
But I'm sure if you
Oh.
search the DCOM.
Okay,
video,
and
I'm not sure.
their TikToks are very funny. I don't have TikTok, but Kelsey showed me some, and the images make it very funny sometimes. And it's usually the best moment from the podcast on there.
yeah.
So relive your favorites.
Relive your favorite moments.
Yes.
If I ever keep up with it, I kind of get behind and then I do a bunch at once.
They also have an email address that you can use, thedcomduo@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I've never emailed there, but you should.
Yeah. Ben would never email us there. Usually we would spin the wheel now, but since we had a backup plan in case we didn't get this episode out,
You already know what it is.
we've already spun the wheel. It was stuck in the suburbs. We've already watched it. We already recorded it. We're gonna release it in 2 weeks after this episode.
Jordan Cahill. So
Jordan
dreamy.
Cahill. So tune in 2 weeks to hear our thoughts on stuff in the suburbs.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Well, yeah, we're not going to spoil it, but we watched the movie, and let me tell you, they sure were stuck in a suburb.
They sure were.
They sure
Yeah.
were.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Ben, for joining in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
this
you.
was fun.
Thank you for listening this long. It's definitely over 2 hours. So
Yeah, if you're listening
Edit
at
it
2
down.
times speed, it's going to be less than 2
I'm
hours.
definitely gonna edit down the part where BenG goes over cities that have schools.
well, it's definitely still gonna be over 2 hours.
I'm
just
sorry,
letting
I
you know.
shouldn't have shown up.
No, we're
No.
glad to have you. All right. Take care. Goodbye.
Why?
Boy.
Scenes from our next episode.
Suburbs are just a state of mind.
Stuck in the suburbs.
Man, I sure am happy that that teenage heartthrob is Taron Killam.
Oh, look how lovely his hair is. That must be what his whole career is based on.
Man, I sure would be happy in my life if someone took my phone and all of my personal belongings and changed everything I did
Yeah.
just as a prank.
I
got
wish I
me.
could have some ice cream.
They got me a haircut and dogs.
What?
Yep.
Oh my god, is that a flashback montage? Oh my
Yes.
god, is that a flashback montage?
Oh my god. Is that just a montage?
Oh my god, is that a third flashback montage?
All right, cool. Let's go to Olive Garden now.